Jim Retro. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. But we're broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. This is going to be a great game, a great day today. We had a great day yesterday. We're going to repeat this today, but there's a couple of things I want to share with y'all before we go. Jimmy, when we usually start this show, we usually talk about what's going on around the world and in the elements of sports. When we use it, we talk about around the world. Today, we're literally, Jimmy, going around the world for two reasons. Because actually, baseball is being played in South Korea. Number one, and it will be wonderful to see. And number two, I think we will start to get a real idea on how sports would look back, how it would look when we come back. You know, it's something that we waited to see for 2 months. Live sports. Live sports in Korea. It was on ESPN last night. It's called a Korean Basketball Organization. It's open this season. There were a few people in the stands. Few players were wearing masks, and a few players didn't. But Jimmy, all the umpires wore masks. So, ladies and gentlemen, baseball is back. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because, if y'all remember, South Korea and the USA had their first COVID cases on the same day. Their government was on top of the mitigating the virus so that they can have baseball. Our natural response has been a disaster, so we cannot have baseball. I just want to throw that in there because we got. I just had to throw that in there because you had to put it in context. They had the same thing. So today, we're gonna repeat what happened yesterday. We got several powerful, great coaches, leaders in our community that's going to come on this show. Thanks again to Jim Hicks for putting this thing together. Cinco de Mayo, happy Cinco de Mayo. You know, I don't celebrate that day that much because I don't drink and I don't understand it. And maybe if I'm around people who understand it, they can explain it to me. But I think it's an Independence Day for some. I haven't studied that yet. Don't stop me. I'm working on my black history first before I can, because I went to predominantly white schools. So I'm working on my black history. Then I learn somebody else's history first. So just bear with me a minute. But Jimmy, I'll let you introduce the hour. I thought I'd throw that in there, but I'll let you introduce what's coming on for the next 2 hours.
Oh, I mean, as we're going to continue the conversation with high school coaches who advanced to the state tournament. And we had 5 yesterday. Great convo from yesterday. I applaud all you guys for making the Chop Shop for what it was indeed and has become. Now, Cinco de Mayo is today. And of course, for some, let me explain you guys, is what it is not. It is not a Mexican Independence Day. It's the day that Mexico helped beat the Confederates in Pueblo. You know, I'm gonna chop up a name of a city in the name, but it's a chop shop. But it's understand. Also, take down our email address.
Okay.
Because we want you guys to help us. And I have a plan coming up. And this plan, I'm going to introduce to you guys on tomorrow on Women Rock Wednesday. And we will introduce to you guys on Women Rock Wednesday. And the plan is we're going to use our collective power to help endorse many of the educators around the city who are supporters of the Chop Shop. Whether you're a supporter or they are a supporter, that means they're connected. We're going to help nominate them and acknowledge them because it's a Teachers Appreciation Week.
Okay.
You see?
I got you.
So you see where I'm going. So I'm giving you guys time to acknowledge. If you have somebody, then you can send the name to our email box with their info, the name, the school, what their function is at the school, and that way we can acknowledge them. And also, I'm gonna get then on tomorrow. We will give you guys the directives or the encouragement to go on one of the local news affiliates. They're having a contest to acknowledge, and we're going to use our power to push behind a few. You see how this goes now? Because you're going to vote for more than one, and we're going to make a difference. Chop Shop is going to produce some teachers to get acknowledged on Teacher Appreciation Week. Our email address, chopshophtx@gmail.com. chopshophtx@gmail.com. That is the email address.
And Jim, I want to thank you and Alfio for giving me that information. Because like I said, I've been busy studying my own history. So I haven't studied anyone else's history. And I'm on this knack. So thank you for that information. So when I get to studying it, I learned something today. Thank you so much, Alfio.
Oh, Alfio put it out there too.
Oh yeah, he gave me a little extra. You gave it eloquently, but he just gave the dates and all of that kind of stuff.
I gave the street version.
Yeah. About the Mexican army and all of that. See, y'all, guess what? I got some black armies I got to check out first. So let me check out that first. So
man, you gotta go. you got to go watch Glory or something.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't the black on. But now, also, we want to take out before again. We're gonna do it at the end. But I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge today's Cinco de Mayo. I'm dedicating this show to my eldest sister, Giselle. Giselle Hicks in Shreveport, Louisiana. Her born day is today, and I definitely want to make sure let her know, because normally I would slide, especially in times like this. I would slide on over the Shreveport, come down with a bottle. We do our routine, go to the movie show, but not with the COVID-19. You come back from Louisiana, you got to sit still for 14 days, or going either way. So that's not happening. We'll give her a shout out. And today's on the agenda, guys. Once again, we mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to have, in honor of Cinco de Mayo, we're going to have Cinco high school coaches who are going to join us. Now, first is coming up now, but I'll give you the lineup, starting with the last. In the back nine, our last guest will be Greg Wise of Houston Yates High School. He will be preceded by Stafford High School's David Montano and that's going to be on the back nine. Mm-hmm. At the top of the hour, Brandon Thomas of Dallas Fate Family will join us for a convo. At about 35 minutes past the hour, Greg Devers from Cold Spring High School is going to join us. And joining us right now is Damian Mobley from Dallas Madison High School is on the Chop Shop with us. And this is, first of all, Coach, how's everything going, man?
Oh, man, everything is all right, man. Everything is good, man. We're blessed. How everything going with you, brother?
Man, we're just navigating through these waters and, and as you can see, Haller's out there riding his bike and I'm eating up everything in sight. So that's how I rhyme with the Chop Shop. And that's how we rock it. Now, Coach, congratulations on your season.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
For starters, and great job you've done over Dallas Madison, picking up the mantle. And you guys, the unique thing, of course, for the guys that are just tuning in, the UIL, that's the governing body of a lot of our public schools. Mm-hmm. Coach, we have people watching from all over the country. And,
okay.
And then a couple of countries outside of the country are actually watching. We have a couple of military people that are watching from in their countries as well. Well, you guys got there, and the thing about that make it unique, the UILs are saying they decided to cancel the season on the wake of the governor saying that all school activities, publics or privates, are canceled for the rest of the 2019-20 term. Well, that means, of course, that encompasses the high school state boys championship, which was interrupted on March the 12th. Right after you guys had played your semifinal game versus Cold Spring, you guys actually got the news. When did you actually get the news? Was the game still in progress?
Yes, we actually got the news at halftime. They told us at halftime of our game. Yes, so the game was still in progress.
So how did it come? Did they come and just pull you to the side, or did they come and tell the kids, everybody? I mean, how did they do it?
It actually was a unique situation. They actually, they have the screens that's all over the Alamo Dome, and they also in the locker rooms. So when we went in for halftime, me and the coaches, we stayed in the hallway, just to talk strategic stuff, and the kids went into the locker rooms. And then once we went in, we seen the looks on their faces. So, they were like, what's wrong? So we look up at the screen, and the announcement was on the screen. So we found out through an announcement on the screen at halftime in the locker rooms.
Oh, man. And so at that time, it was kind of confusing because you finally figuring like, well, man, we already got started. Let's go on through an extra couple of days. What was it? How hard was it to absorb that pill at the time?
Well, pretty much at the time, I guess, I would think pretty much while the adrenaline was flowing and we was focused and tunnel vision on completing a goal during that time and really a basketball game. So it somewhat didn't really dawn on us. The seriousness of it that at the exact moment. And I tell people like dealing with teenagers. I'm still dealing with teenagers, 15, 16, 17-year-old. They think they invincible. So, they think, okay, it might say this on the screen now, but by the time the game over, coach, no, we going to play. This don't happen in real life, type situation. So, it wasn't hard, keeping them motivated and getting there. But after the game, when, it really was settled in that we wasn't going to play anymore, and not just about a basketball game, but just like the country, man, pretty much the world was shutting down. Because of this pandemic, we started to realize it was pretty much more serious than we thought initially.
And so then later on, the UIL eventually made the ultimate decision, which they decided to offer a virtual award ceremony via Zoom to the various basketball programs, and they shied away from some of the whispers that they were thinking about naming everybody as co-champs. They did not do that. So how does that? Did they get it right or how or not?
I mean, overall, man, I think they made the best decision because I guess it's still as long as it pretty much about the kids. You know what I mean? And as long as they acknowledge these young men that put up all the hard work and everything throughout this year and throughout their career, especially seniors, in making it this far. I know we always want to end with the title and that title being champions, but I think the fact that at least they acknowledge them and they gave us trophies and medals and things like that was pretty much on that end because I know 1A I believe and 3A were I think the only two classifications that at least had the opportunity to complete the semifinals. And I think the rest of the classifications have 4 teams left. And so, when someone think about co anyway, you usually only thinking about 2. So, I mean, I think in this situation, man, they made the best decision they could make, that everybody came out, pretty much fair.
And so now, how many games did they complete at the state tournament? Was it 3 or 4?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So 4. So that means they had another game after your game that they also completed then.
Yes. They played San Antonio Cole and Peaster.
Okay.
Played right for us. Yes, that was the last game.
So even though it was only 2 of you guys in the classification of 3A remaining, right? As opposed to yesterday we had the coaches from the 4A and the 6A and the 5A schools on yesterday. And that was different because none of those teams got a chance to play. There's only 2 of you guys remaining in class 3A, and you still didn't. You're against the co-champ label.
I'm not against the co-champions. In our situation, I was for. Me and the other 3A team, San Antonio Cole coach, we both agreed, that co-champions would be best, would be a great idea for us, for the UIL to make a decision for us. But, for the overall body, where I just don't see UIL separating classifications like that and separating titles like that throughout the state tournament, then, I just felt it was best for everybody, to be included,
Hey, Coach, I saw where Miss Steffi Eldridge, she said the whole thing should have been canceled. What do you think about that, Coach?
That was my initial thought. Because we were already in San Antonio. We were already in San Antonio, and I think if we played on the 12th, the news really, really hit on the 11th. So we were all in the hotel coming back from a team dinner and start to really see, everything started to shut down with the NCAA canceling conference tournaments, and then the NBA started to suspend their season. And so that was my first thought, was like, man, I think this thing is very serious. And I initially thought they were going to, cancel everything and have none of the games be played. But throughout the night, I never received the email. And so that Thursday morning when we woke up, game started as early as 8:30. And they hadn't canceled anything by then. I'm like, I thought my initial thought, I think they should cancel this because they started to limit tickets and they started to tell people that didn't have tickets, that was coming down, that they couldn't buy tickets to get in the game. And that was something I thought was pretty much unfair, not just for the fans, but also for the players, if they were going to limit seating and not allow certain people to come in and people that didn't have tickets, anything like that. And if they felt that was going to be a safety issue, just canceling the thing overall would probably have been the best decision, at that time. But they didn't. So
I got one more quick one, Coach, from on our Facebook feed. We affectionately call those people. Matter of fact, on the YouTube feed, we affectionately call those people the Boom Boom Room. And Rod Wells, who is a Yates, a Yates aficionado, he said, has Coach Mobley received any negative press from the media or any other coaches for playing in 3A and not moving up to 4A or above? Have you received any?
No, I haven't, because especially in our environment, in our community, our press pretty much you say our local press, like some of the Dallas Morning News and other guys that cover us, they understand. We're in a almost, you want to say, almost a dying community. And trans community. We're such a small community. Yes, man. Our population is actually 3A. It could be 2A, really. But that would require a lot of travel and expenses on the district. But they respect that because they know our population at the school is very small in our community.
Jim.
And now, of course, Coach, want to ask you, what is Hoopville? That's something that you established. Tell us about it.
Actually, Hoopville, man, it started off as somewhat like a small little neighborhood thing we started to do when I was young, because I'm from Chicago. And I had a lot of players, a lot of friends in my neighborhood that, were basketball players. Everybody thought basketball was our way of getting out of the neighborhood. And, we had a lot of negative things going on in the neighborhood, too, like gangs and things like that. So instead of us being involved in a negative situation, we started to call ourselves Hoopville, just maybe 4, 5, 6 guys that hung together because our neighborhood was called Coopville as far as, a social status thing, in Chicago. So we started calling ourselves Hoopville or whatever like that. And as some of my friends grew older and became, played professional ball, became older in adulthood, they started to start youth organizations and things like that. And since we all were pretty much close, we just kept up with that name. And we have my best friend really has a huge part with that Hoopville organization because he has a professional organization too with the same name, Hoopville, that plays. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the TBT tournament and things like that. We also have teams that play in that with that same. And I have kids, my young kids, like my youngest daughter started playing when she was young, and now it's my youngest son. So every time I start a team around them, we just call it that name, start the organization.
I got another one for you, Coach. First of all, Coach, you got Stacey Houston and Big E on the Facebook feeds shouting out to you, telling me your class act and all that. I love the way they come on here and support you. So that's number one.
Absolutely.
Appreciate them guys.
Yeah, but I got something else for you, Coach. Fort Bend Ballers, he asked a question. He said, what steps? I'm glad we're getting this from you, Coach, because Coach, you got to realize, and I'm telling these people on these on our Facebook and YouTube page, these guys, when they own this air like this, you got to pour from them. They're head coaches. Everybody's not a head coach. They're head coaches of their respective schools. And when you got a chance to have them on here, ask questions. And this is a great question, Coach. What steps should a parent take when the family believes that their son is not getting playing time? Also, how does you feel about kids transferring from different high schools?
Well, to answer the first part about the steps that the parents should take, the first step is make a realistic, logical evaluation of your child. Be realistic with yourself and be realistic with them. For example, my wife asked about my youngest son playing basketball and putting him on the team. And my response to her was, okay, we're going to go buy a basketball goal. We're going to put it in the back of the house. And when I start seeing the net tear and the rim bent, meaning he's tearing that basketball goal up from being out there, then we'll take him to a team because I know, he's playing for the love of the game. And the love of the game somewhat helps you be decisive in the decisions you make when it comes to playing time. You know what I mean? As especially as a player, when and where that time comes in and how to get that time. So sometimes to my personal opinion, I think parents might be too involved when it comes to playing time. Too involved when it comes to playing time. That's something, man. I just love the fact that growing up, my mother and father never was at the park, so they couldn't tell nobody, hey, he got next. So that means he has to get on the court and play. It was just something earned, and it helps build that love and that passion for the game. So I try to tell parents all the time, to try to evaluate their kids themselves before, they somewhat have a discussion or a debate about playing time. And the second part, when it comes to transferring, sometimes, sometimes, man, it's actually necessary. You know what I mean? It's actually necessary. It depends on what situation you're in. Like I tell people a lot of times, some kids aren't built to be big fish in big ponds. Sometimes it's best for them to be a big fish in a small pond. And that allowed them to grow. That allowed them to do it. So if changing the environment is best for that child after you have made a logical, realistic evaluation, then I don't see anything wrong with that. It's always about making the best decisions for you and your family, and the kids are part of your family.
Coach, I want to end, Coach. I mean, you can end, Jimmy, you can end with it, but I want you to coach. When I bring coaches on here, and much time y'all spending with basketball, I didn't ask a coach this yesterday, I want to know, what is your impressions of The Last Dance, the Jordan documentary? I got to hear from you, Coach. Tell me give me your brief overview. I'm gonna ask every coach today this question, but I'm starting with you because I didn't do it yesterday. Tell me something that you got out of The Last Dance that you didn't know.
I'm from Chicago. I lived through. Okay. I lived through that, so I was on that, in that side, in that city. Mm-hmm. And what I do get from it is the fact that the way things were ran, the way things are ran business wise in Chicago. And when it comes, not just when it comes to sports and everything, just the way the city is built and the type of people that occupy that city, it's an organized type city, and sometimes it shows that you're never bigger than the business. At the end of the day, this is still a business, and we're here to accomplish something on both sides of this business. You know what I mean? And winning is just sometimes, it's just a small part of it sometimes. You know what I mean? So, in living in Chicago, we understood that. And so that's why, a lot of people didn't like Jerry Reinsdorf or Jerry, you know what I mean? Because, because of those type of things, man.
Glad I asked that question. What you got, Jim?
Now, speaking of Chicago, what's the biggest difference between Illinois and Texas? And also, I lumped that into another question real quick for you. We only got about a minute and a half left. What's the biggest difference? What are your thoughts on the Dallas versus Houston rivalry?
The biggest difference between Illinois and Texas, especially when it comes to interscholastic sports, is the organization. The organization and the resources. Texas have a lot of resources and put a lot of resources into their high school sports. High school sports is huge. Almost a level down from Division I is high school here in Texas. So, they put a lot of resources into their interscholastic sports. So that's one huge difference I noticed between Illinois and Texas. And the rivalry with Houston and Dallas is, I think it's a good one. Man, competition is healthy. Competition is healthy, and it's they say iron sharpens iron. So I love to see those rivals and that, because what I do see that produces it gives us a plethora of good college basketball players, man. These guys grow up competing against each other, and that rivalry, I think, between these two cities, Dallas and Houston, it helps these players when they go on to the next level and compete against guys from across the country. You know what I mean? They really done felt competition pretty much already. Somewhat of a different style, pretty much same concept, different content. So I think that I love that part about this Texas basketball.
Well, definitely, man. Coach, we are at the buzzer for the end of our first of this 5-quarter episode on Cinco de Mayo. We want to definitely thank you. Congratulations again, R&R, for the Dallas Madison program. We guys, one thing about it, it helps the communities to understand the fabric under a lot of these teams. You answered some good questions. The Boom Boom Room posed some great ones to you, but we appreciate it, Coach, and we'll get you back in once the schedule is substantiated for the remainder of the year, and pick your brain some more topics in basketball. Okay?
And one more thing, Coach. You got to Coach, you got a great assistant coach too up there, Coach.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Keith
man.
Fogg.
Oh,
Coach
yeah.
Fogg, that's my man, Coach.
Yeah.
I wanted to just give him his plug.
Don't let him get cooked on no crawfish, Coach. Don't let him get you eating the crawfish and all this stuff.
Oh, that ain't.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it, Coach.
Coach, you can just push your button, the red button, and you're out, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
And of course, hey man, great combo from Coach Mobley. In case you guys didn't know, understand, Dallas Madison, they're the defending state champions from 2019. He was also the Dallas Morning News Coach of the Year in 2013. They won a 3A title in that Dallas Madison in 2013. He's been winning 2009 at Dallas Madison. He won a state championship as well, 3 state championships. And so he's getting it done. Got winners. And speaking of a winner, we have our next guest. Understand, he was winning in H-Town. He used to be the former, remember, you guys remember his name, Greg Devers. And I chopped his name up. He's how you looked at it.
Coach, is it Devers? Is Devers or Devers?
Devers.
Devers, okay.
Devers.
I fixed myself before he had to correct me. I almost chopped him. Now, Coach, he was the head coach at Manville. Remember back when they had Leon Gilmore, D'Eric King was doubling down as a football star, playing basketball, and all those guys. Who else? Traylon Ferris played for him. Terry Allen, who went to Richmond, made all conference over there at Richmond, and then Coach went and took his talents over towards East Texas to Cold Springs. And tell the people out there exactly where is Cold Springs.
Yes.
Cold Spring is about, downtown Houston. It's about 50 minutes from downtown Houston. If you go to Cleveland, and when you get to Cleveland, you take a left on 2025, and you go about 15 miles, and there's Cold Spring right there on Lake Livingston.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so you've been at Cold Spring for how many years, Coach?
I just finished my 5th year.
And so now take us back, of course, to reflect back on this season. You guys, as Coach Mobley just mentioned, you actually were playing against Dallas Madison, and at halftime when the news came out.
Oh.
And at the time, the game was a single-digit spread at halftime, right?
Well, the game started out, we took the lead in the first quarter, 18-11, and then we're up actually 29-27, about 3 minutes left. They went on a 14-2 run to go up 41-31 at halftime, and then we went into halftime to regroup, and then as soon as I left my locker room, that's when a UIL official pulled me off to the side and said, we're going to finish your game, and then we're going to finish the Cole and Peaster game, and then they're canceling the tournament. But at that time, I did not tell my players any information because I want them to focus on coming back and beating Dallas Madison, in which we actually scored the first 4 points in the third quarter to get a 6-point game. And after that, it just went from 6 to 14 to 8 to 14. We actually scored 25 points in the fourth quarter, but unfortunately they scored 30. So it was an up-tempo game. It's the style that we played. We just had a bad 4-minute quarter in the second quarter. We shot like 19% for them to take that little lead.
Yeah, and so now how did the kids and the community, because what's the population of Cold Spring?
Well, Cold Spring is actually 480 square miles. The town of Cold Spring is about 1,100. Yes. It stretches from Huntsville to Livingston to Cleveland to New Waverly. We got a lot of the Sam Houston State National Forest. I think Cold Spring, which is the county seat, had the population maybe about 1,200 people.
Okay. And so how did the community embrace you? Because so now, you lost the game in the semifinals, and then you guys got to leave San Antonio with medals. so your players receive the medals. Now the later the UIL, after they postponed and later canceled the state tournament, do you guys get to keep the medals that you had, or are they going to send you the medals that the other teams will get?
Well, we did actually receive our trophy, the state semifinalists, and the kids got their medals right after our game, like they always do. Now, what I've read and what I've been informed is I think the other 20 teams are going to get a certain trophy, certain medals that didn't play. But I think for us, the two 1A schools and the two 3A schools that lost, I think we're considered maybe state semifinalists.
And
now, I don't know what Dallas, Madison, and Cole, if they're going to be co-champs. I know the other divisions could be quad champs.
Yeah. So what's the reception like now? Your team, of course, you came there, you basically turned that program around. Their first ever state tournament berth, and which is remarkable. So we want to applaud you for that dynamic job that you've done down there. And now, as a result, Cold Spring is not a basketball program that annually just produces college basketball talent, but you have some players that are going to be playing college basketball next season, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, Jacoby Bishop, there's some schools looking at him right now. He's received one offer. There's a couple other schools that had some interest, and I think he's just looking to see what's his best decision is going to be. They hadn't made up their mind yet, or he has not made up his mind yet to what school he's going to go to.
So now, as a head coach and as who's coached Division I talent, and you've had multiple Division I players while at Manville before arriving at Cold Spring, what ways or what advice can you give another coach who's watching right now on how, because nowadays so many kids are being led to believe that their offer is a committable offer, is a valid offer. And a lot of colleges are just going through the motions to just keep some people happy and not ruffle feathers. Is there any way that you would suggest or encourage someone to troubleshoot the offer to see if it's valid?
I try to let the parents know, and I have a couple of players. My first year, I had a young man, Trey Cole, that eventually walked on at Stephen F. Austin. And then, of course, I have Jacoby Bishop. And then next year, I have my point guard that's going to be a senior, Duke Lonarchek. I try to tell them that most until you get an offer, and nothing's set in stone right now in concrete, I try to tell them to listen to everybody. I'm trying to figure out the right word to use for the recruiting, but with me being at Manville and Leon and Terry Allen and Traden Ferris, for those guys being recruited, I kind of give them some experience there where if a coach, example, if he's not giving you a handwritten letter or a personal phone call, you're probably just on their watch list right now. But if he's calling you and texting you and following you and coming to your games, they probably have a lot of interest in you. And being out here in Cold Spring, sometimes we don't get the recognition of the kids in the Houston area or the big schools and everything.
Yeah, and so now moving forward, Coach, what's on the horizon now? What are expectations for next season for Cold Spring? I mean, was this that year? I mean, you're getting there. You did like the Bum Phillips. You kicked on the door. You knocked on the door. What's next? What can we expect from you guys?
Well,
in 3A.
This actually started 3 years ago. When I started 3 freshmen and a sophomore. We took our lumps. We were 11 and 22. And then the next 3 years, we won 3 straight district titles, been undefeated. We were 24 and 7. And then we were 35 and 3. And then we finished this year 36 and 5 What I have coming back next year is Duke Lonachek, who made all third team all grade Houston area. He averaged 21 points a game. He's been my 6'2" point guard. I have the district newcomer of the year, Dante Eldridge, that averaged about 14 points a game. I had two other players that were key to our rotation. Then I have a JV team that went 22-3 this year. And then I have an incoming 8th grader, Luke Monroe, that I have high expectations from him. I can see him either starting or be the first guy off the bench next year as a freshman. So I think we should be able to make another decent run next year.
Really? That's what I'm talking about, Coach. Say it with your chest in. Now, how tall is the 8th grader that's going to the 9th grade, Luke Monroe?
Luke's about 5'10" right now, but if he's anything like his brothers, he's going to be eventually 6'1", 6'2". His brothers are mainly football players. When I first got there, my first year, Jake Monroe, he went off to play college football as a linebacker. But Luke, he has it all. He's going to be a good one.
Now, we have a couple of questions for in the Boom Boom Room. How do you want to?
Yeah, I got one. Coach, he was asking about, do you, Chuck McGowan, he asked, does you allow your best player to hold everyone accountable on the team, or is that something that you does to get the most out of your team?
These guys, we hold everybody accountable for it. I mean, these kids, nowadays they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to. Sometimes we take care of it in house and do a little punishment right there. But most of the players that we had, what I had this year, I had 7 of my 10 players that had 3 or more years of varsity experience. I had a good move in this year, Buddy from Willis, that was a 3-year varsity letterman. I came here as a senior, and he actually had a double-double in the state tournament, 10 points and 10 rebounds. But we handle each case usually individually.
Coach, I love that term you use, move in. I love that term. But, Coach, I got to ask you, Coach, everybody's been going crazy. I know you've been in quarantine. You've been on that lake. You showed me when I called you earlier. Y'all coach got a lake in his backyard. Don't let him fool you.
He got a lake back there?
Oh, a big lake too. But Coach, Coach, but I want to ask you about, Coach, The Last Dance. Have you had a chance to watch it? The Michael Jordan documentary.
No, I have not. I missed it this past Sunday. I have not seen it yet.
Okay.
I've been each time I get kind of busy, I've been having the grandkids come over sometimes.
Oh.
But I plan on watching. I taped it.
Okay. I just wanted to see what you got, Jimmy.
Now, another question for you is the official name of the high school. Mm-hmm. Is it Cold Spring or is it Cold Spring Oakhurst? What's the official name?
It's a consolidated school district. It's Cold Spring. There's another little town about maybe 15 miles from Cold Spring. That's Oakhurst. So we have a bunch. We have Cold Spring, we got Oakhurst, we got Point Blank. There's a lot of little towns around here that all come to Cold Spring. We only have 420 kids in the high school, but like I said, we're 480 square miles.
Wow. So that means everybody got a lake in their backyard, Coach. That's what that means.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Well, on the other side of the lake is Livingston High School.
Oh,
okay.
And then, of course, the other side is on Alaska. That's where they got hit by that tornado last week.
Yeah. Man, and our condolences and sympathies extend to those families in that area who are affected by that unexpected tornado in around Lake Livingston on Alaska area. Mm-hmm. Coach, how you mentioned about your size of your school. We only got about a minute and a half left, but how do you feel? How do you feel about a Dallas ISD school being in 3A?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the demographics are all moving around. I mean, look at the HISD school. I mean, Yates used to be a 6A, and then they're a 5A, and they're a 4A. My first year at Cold Spring, we lost to Houston Wheatley in the second round of the playoff. At that time, we were a 4A, so we actually, 4 years ago, we were a 4A. We dropped down to 3A. I understand Dallaston is just probably in the central of the Dallas area, and they just don't have that many people. I don't have a problem. Dallas Madison brought me down to 3A. When I was at Stafford, I took my team to the Final Four. I lost to Dallas Roosevelt. So I'm 0-2 against the Dallas schools in the state tournament.
And a lot of people are, Coach.
Yeah.
Guess what, man? We definitely want to give you guys out in Cold Spring and Jacoby Bishop. I want to let Helen know is a football connection because he's related to the former Kansas State quarterback, Michael
Mike
Bishop.
Bishop.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's his uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
nice.
So, and once again, Coach, thanks so much for joining us, man, and chopping it up with us on the Chop Shop. Make sure on your way out, make sure you like our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't be a stranger. We're gonna get back out there. I definitely have my eyes on this Cold Spring team for the upcoming season. And thanks so much. I learned a lot about the players. Indeed. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Greg Devers of Cold Spring High School, the state 2020 state semifinalist in the UIL classification of 3A. We definitely got now coming up next. Our next guest is definitely I know you guys. We're going to move on to the 4A classification, and we have 3 coaches that's going to join us in 4A coming up at the top of the hour. We're going to be joined by Brandon Thomas of Dallas Faith Family High School. And that's located in the Oak Cliff area of Dallas. And he will be followed by David Montano of Stafford High School. They went to state this year and Region 4. And of course, he will be followed by Greg Wise, who will join us from Houston Jack Yates High School to round out this great and grand lineup of speakers on Cinco de Mayo. This is a great thing. Howard, we got some current events to give you guys. Meanwhile, or go in the mailbag or whatever. We got a couple of minutes before we get into our next guest.
What you got? You got some? Or you want me to give you some?
What I got? Well, guess what? Louisville was hit with some sanctions. I mean, with a letter, a notice of allegations from the NCAA. Now, mind you, the reason that this becomes grand news because Louisville, this is the second time. Remember, they had a notice back during the stripper gate that was taking place a few years back. So now Louisville gets a notice of allegations, but it's a level 2. They have 2 different levels, level 1 and level 2. They're the 7th school to be hit with allegation. Now they have 90 days to respond to the NCAA. And the other 2 schools that have level 2 notices are TCU and USC. That's Southern California, that is. Now the level 1 notices have been extended to Kansas, North Carolina State, Oklahoma State, and South Carolina. As of yet, we've no confirmation. It's funny to have been from Arizona or LSU. Those were 2 schools where the head coaches were documented and during in transcripts from wire taps during the federal investigations. But the schools haven't received a letter of allegations yet. Those are one thing that was on the document.
But Jimmy, I wanted to share something because I know we hadn't had time to talk about it, but by me watching the show, Last Dance, I'm just so intrigued by it. But I got a teaching moment for the young athletes or the old athletes or the old whoever. But Jimmy, doing it, I almost felt bad for Adidas and Converse. They both had Michael and they both whiffed on him. You know, they whiffed. And when I watched it, Jimmy, there was something that I think that needed to be said. It's about all the young kids out there. Being relentless matters. Michael was rejected by Adidas, who he wanted to be with. Michael was rejected by Converse because they had Magic, Isaiah, and all of them. But, and Jimmy, most people quit when they're rejected. And I'd like to take a shout out to all the mamas and all the kids that listen to their moms, and all the kids that still listen to their parent. I don't care how good of a basketball player you are. I don't care how many accolades and how many All-American awards you got. Michael Jordan did not want to get on that plane, Jimmy Hicks, to go to Portland. Long plane ride. They were nice, but you know I talked to the people because I know some people in his family. He was very defiant. And his mama just said, because his dad was about to get on it. But his mama said, I got it. Look at baby. You owe them, and you owe it to yourself to go out and take a look. Let's go out there. And then the dad ended it with saying, man, we're fooled if we don't take this deal. And now think about it, Jimmy. Spot Bill. And the reason I remember Spot Bill, O.J. Simpson was my favorite player back then. He used to wear it. O.J. Simpson encouraged Spot Bill to give Michael, said, man, that's the next me. Y'all need to go give. And Jimmy, they put more money on the table. But Daddy said, but Nike said, man, fledgling company, a new upstart company was big. See, people looking at Nike now. Nike wasn't that big in 83. They were running shoe company. But Nike committed $1 million to his ad campaign for his shoes. Jimmy, we got another second. Nike it gave him $250,000. Michael, they had planned on selling $3 million worth of shoes, Jimmy, in 2 years. Okay, $3 million worth of shoes in 2 years, 2 or 3 years, I think. Jimmy, they wind up selling 120-some million in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Unique thing. It just happened like that, y'all. Everybody, and guess what? All of these contracts and all these deals, these players sitting back talking about, yeah, I need a deal. They owe it to that guy. LeBron James would not get this deal if it wasn't for that guy. And I love LeBron. Kevin Durant would not get this deal. Kobe would not get this deal if it wasn't for that guy. And for that young man coming. And guess what he said, Jimmy? I love about it. He said, I had to be that good. He said, a lot of these guys got shoe deals that ain't that good. That's what he was saying. I had to be that good to make this thing happen. But, Jimmy, I just wanted to share that because the day's going to be past and we might not be able to get that out. But I think it's a unique lesson for young men and young women. Be relentless. Just because somebody turned you down, keep knocking on the door. What else you got?
Well, I mean, once again, coming up next, we're expecting to be joined by Brandon Thomas, and he's the head coach of Faith Family Academy, which is located in Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas. And this team came on the scene. They were only a couple of years from joining the UIL, and they've made a storm. They're the defending state champions for the 4A classification, where they beat Yates in the semifinals last year, en route to going and winning the title. However, in doing so, or in the aftermath of doing so, this year was highly anticipated because the rematch of Faith Family and Jack Yates was expected to take place on Friday the 13th of all days, March the 13th, that is, and 3 p.m. And that game, of course, was one of the many games on the slate of the UIL state championship for the boys side that to be postponed. And so now we have joining us right now, of course, Brandon Thomas. He's from Chicago, another Chicago native. Well, not native, but he lived there. And who's joining us, that's coaching at DFW schools. And of course, this young man also, he's a native of DFW, graduated and played at Dallas Kimball High School back in 1997. This is, I introduced to you guys, Brandon Thomas. What's going on, Coach?
Nothing much, man. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Adam, we have by far our coolest of the crop of coaches that we have on it. Coach chilling, Coach in his whip. You say the other coach sitting by the lake. He say, the hell with that. Let me go out and with the roof back He kissing the sky with his shades on. And Coach, what's going on? Hey,
My kind of guy, Jim.
Dallas Kimball, 1997. You guys won the state title. Who was the head coach of that team?
Goree Johnson.
The world famous Goree Johnson.
Okay, I got you.
That's Snoop Johnson's father.
Yes.
Yeah, who was the athletic director.
Snoop was actually, Snoop was our assistant coach that year.
What?
Assistant that year. What was it like? What was it like coming on? Give me your best or most fondest Goree/Johnson family story.
Oh man, we got a lot of them, man. One of the things that I remember the most about playing for Coach was that how competitive the environment was every day. We practiced, freshman, JV, and varsity all practiced together, and I remember how we used to line up before practice. You would have like your starting unit for your varsity team would be first, and then your second unit for your varsity, your first unit for your JV, and so on. And one of the things that we could remember, we still joke about this today, when he really wanted to push your buttons, he would move a kid that was behind you right next to you.
Oh, really?
And he didn't have to say anything. Now you're stretching and warming up with that kid next to you. You know that he's doing that to basically let you know, hey, if you don't bring it, this kid's about to, have your minutes and take your spot. And it could be a kid that would be like way in the back on the second unit freshman team. He moved them all the way up to like the varsity. And you'd be like, man. So, just that competitive environment, man, that we had every single day was just crazy and relentless at the same time.
And now what we do, we invite you guys that are watching, Coach, we're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously right now. So if we welcome you guys on either platform to pose your questions for Coach Thomas, if you have them. Meanwhile, we ask you, if you're on the Facebook feed, to take out the time to share the show right now. Because a lot of your viewers and followers may be from the DFW area, may be interested in or intrigued about this program at Faith Family. And this is a great time to reach out to them and let them know, kind of wake them up a little bit. Now, Coach, how long has Faith Family been open, and what motivated you to take this job?
It's been open since 1998. And the thing that motivated me the most was, when I met with our superintendent, Molly Purcell, and assistant soups, Amanda Subjinski and Dean McGuire, they said, listen, we're not interested in building, a program that only competes at the, local and state level. We want a program that competes nationally. And that was music to my ears. I've been involved with programs that have been ranked nationally, maybe played a game or two here and there against a national opponent. But, to hear that coming from, the people that are the true, stakeholders in the program was music to my ears, man. We always wanted to, we feel like here in DFW and in Texas period, we have some of the best, basketball players in the country. And we want to showcase those kids. And, we're at a place at Faith Family that allows us to do that. And so it was a no-brainer for us, actually.
And so now you've been at Faith Family for how many years?
I've been there 3 years. We just completed our third season. And
that's all in UIL. And so you're the defending state champion. Once the news was rendered, remember you guys wasn't scheduled to play until Friday at 3 p.m. The news came out about 24 hours prior to. Where were you when you received the unfortunate news that the UIL was postponing the state championship?
We were loading up the bus, actually getting ready to go to our shoot around. So I believe I was on the bus. But to be honest with you, we kind of saw it coming. We were seeing things that was happening with the NCAA and with the NBA, and we knew we were next. We were just hoping, obviously, that we could get it in, but we knew at some point that things were going to shut down. So we were on the bus, loading the bus up, actually getting ready to go to shoot around, and we got the official call, but we had already seen it on Twitter and other outlets before we got the official call.
Yeah, and now how hard did how did the kids take it?
Like you'd expect. I mean, disappointed initially, obviously, heartbroken. Um, but at that point there was still hope that we would continue the tournament. So it was more of a, okay, this is postponed, not necessarily canceled, sort of thing. But as time went by, we came home and weeks turned into months. It started to look, pretty bleak. And I think over time, to be honest with you, we just started to kind of move on. So when the decision came down that it was in fact officially canceled, there wasn't like a big, let down at that point. I think our kids had mentally started to move on and prepare for what's next anyway.
Now, Coach, we have a couple of questions we're going to pose to you and toss to you from a lot of the viewers that are watching on one of the two platforms. And first is, how hard was it to build that program at Faith Family? And also, how bad did you want that rematch against Jack Gibbs?
Well, I'll start with the first question. It wasn't hard at all, to be honest with you. I mean, we won it all in the second year, and I say it wasn't hard. We focus on culture first. We feel if we come in and we put our imprint on a program and really, institute what type of culture we're going to have there, a culture of hard work, discipline, accountability, and you stick to that every day. Our first year at Faith Family, we were 24-13. We were not picked to make the playoffs at all that year. Tallest kid on the team, I believe, was like 6'4", and the next kid was 6'1" and down. We didn't have a bunch of height, but we won 24 games. We made the playoffs, lost a tough first-round game to Argyle. That was us putting our imprint in that, hey, we're here to compete, and once you have that culture established, I'm blessed to have what I believe is obviously the best coaching staff around. We have guys that have coached in the big game quite a few times. I mean, combined on our staff, we've coached in 16 state championships, man. So you got guys that got reputations around here, and we just brought that to Faith Family. And so it wasn't, the school probably was unknown from a basketball standpoint, at least statewide, but our staff here locally is well known. And, we came in, I think people were just kind of waiting to see, what we do with the talent the players that we inherited. And man, it was one of my, most fun years to take guys that had not won and turn them into winners. And from that point, now you just, you're on the map and there's some buzz and people are starting to take a look at you. And we have a really good school. We're a school district as well. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You're going to get, a good academic. The academics are going to be solid. The athletics are solid. You're getting a chance to play a national schedule, and then you're getting a chance to compete for a state championship. That's what a lot of parents want for their kids. And you're getting coached at a high level on a daily basis. So I don't think it was that difficult, to be honest with you. And I say that humbly, but obviously it didn't take us 5 to 10 years to do it. And in terms of the rematch, we probably were not, excited to play them as they were to play us. Let's be real here. But we were more excited about the opportunity to defend our state championship. In the music business, you got these one-hit wonders. And we wanted to prove to everybody that we're not a one-hit wonder. We lost, for the most part, our whole team. We only returned 2 kids that played on last year's team, and they were only sophomores. They're good, but they were still sophomores. And so here we are back, for the most part, with a different cast of players. With preseason number 1, we probably shouldn't have been because we didn't return that much. We've got a really tough schedule. We're trying to get our team together. So our goal was to, 1, prove to everybody that we're for real. We're here to stay. We're not a team that just popped up, won a state championship, and then you don't hear about it anymore, because we're not a team. We're a program. And so we wanted to defend. And so it didn't really matter, to be quite honest with you, who we played. We know that we're the 100 now. We know that. We saw how most teams that beat us this year celebrated after they beat us as if, they'd really taken down someone that they had pent up high on a mantle. But we've earned that, man. We've earned the right to beat 100. And so we've earned it. We own it. We know who we are. We know people want to beat us. We know people want to play us. And, when we gear up and lock up with you, it's going to be one. It's going to be a game.
And so now that brings about a question that on yesterday's conversation, we had the 6A and 5A coaches on the Chop Shop. We had 5 of them. And 2 of the coaches expressed a desire to play next season possibly during Glenn Smith's Thanksgiving Hoop Fest. Would you guys be interested in playing Yates at the Hoop Fest this season if you're a team?
Yeah, we would. I mean, we'll play anybody. We'll play anybody. I mean, I want that to be known. If you look at our schedule for last year, you'll see that, we're willing to play people. We played 4 state champions last year, from different states. So we'll play anybody. If that's a possibility, we won't have any hesitation.
Now, Tyler, you got something?
No, I'm just listening, Coach. I see a couple of people, Coach. They ask, how does a charter school program become regulated by the UIL? Jeremy Davis asked that question.
I have no idea.
Okay.
It was a UIL pro. Yeah, when I got there, they were already UIL. They've been UIL for quite some time. They were 2A at one point. Mm-hmm. They were 3A. The year before we got there was their first year being a 4A program. And it's growing. I anticipate us being a 5A program probably within the next 5 years. Because the population of the school itself is continuing to grow. So they've been UIL quite some time, and how that happened and when, that was before my time.
Coach, sometimes it's people like me, because I'm familiar with the name of your program, but I don't know the players that much. I don't just know them because I have, a lot of the kids I haven't met. What was your record of your team this year?
Man, we were 24-13. And it's actually the same record we finished with the first year we were there.
Okay.
We took some losses, and
okay.
Our goal is always going to be playing our best basketball when it matters the most. Obviously, we don't ever want to lose 13 games.
Right.
Let's not get it twisted. But our team was still coming together. We were extremely young at one point. At one point in the season, we started 4 sophomores. We started 3 sophomores all year. So, we had a lot of guys who were just either young and inexperienced. I think we only had maybe 2 guys on our team besides Trey and Jordan, the guys we returned, that had true varsity experience, and that was Cameron Johnson and Isaiah LeBlanc. But it just took some time, and the schedule was not forgiving. And we wouldn't have it any other way. We're going to play a tougher schedule this year. We returned 9 players for next year, so I'm not anticipating us losing 13 games. But it was one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best coaching jobs we've done, because so many people counted us out, so many people stopped following us and watching us, and really that was a good thing for us, because it's so much pressure on these kids to live up to the hype of whether it's rankings individually, rankings as a team, expectations. And, the team still needs an opportunity to mesh and gel and come together. And I felt we were doing that. We did that at the right time of year when it matters most. And, so, yeah.
Awesome. Wow. And Coach, since you've got roots in Chicago, please tell me about The Last Dance. What you think about The Last Dance? What you take back? What can you share with our viewers? Being a coach, high-level basketball, what did you take from it?
Obviously, anybody that grew up in that era, we know, who Michael Jordan is and what he represents, not just for basketball, but for the culture, man. And But the thing that I'm enjoying right now, I'm enjoying watching it with my son who's 9, who thinks Steph Curry is the best player ever.
Smart man, smart kid, smart kid.
Yeah, but more importantly, I'm just looking at how Michael Jordan influenced, so many young boys of all races, of all different cultures, man. I mean, we wanted to walk like them. We wanted to talk like them. We wanted to chew our gum like them, stick our tongue out like them, I mean, we wanted to be like Mike. So it's kind of, I'm just in, a nostalgic point right now where it's just taking me back to my childhood and remembering when I was in 3rd and 4th and 5th grade, having all the shoes, watching the videos, Come Fly With Me, Michael Jordan's Playground. It's taking me back. So I'm enjoying it. I mean, he set that bar extremely high, man, and not just from a basketball standpoint, but, building a brand, being a brand, but he did it for the pure love of the game. He didn't come into the league with the mindset of, I'm going to build a brand like so many kids do now. The brand was built because of him. It wasn't built, before him. And so I'm enjoying it. I really am.
Now, Coach, last week, I think Hatter put together a thought, just entertaining the thought.
Okay.
That a what if, and we posed it yesterday to 2 of the coaches, and they gave their thoughts on it. And that is, although this season the Yates versus Fate family will not transpire because of the UIL and the governor's decision.
Right.
If let's say in a non-scholastic setting, if Yates offered to come and drive up to Madisonville, hell, they can meet right behind Buc-ee's or something on 45. Or one of those, if somebody had an old piece of real estate, they had a private gym that they can keep, social distancing from the fans in there. And your kid, you 2 coaches would not be able to coach. We entertaining the thought. Would you endorse or give it your blessings? I mean, why would you feel about that? Because I'm coming from the Yates side of the fence, and we're going to talk to Greg Wise later on. The rumors have been spewing that he's willing to let his kids just go and they go and play. They say, hell, they played fall ball without me. So
right.
What would you say on something like that, to that type of challenge?
Man, absolutely. I mean, you can't. Something like that becomes public anyway. I mean, as a coach, you can't stop it. Kids want to hoop, man, and just what it is. Kids want to hoop, and any type of environment, especially one like that, where you're playing against a team you were supposed to play, you didn't get a chance to play it out. So we'll just truly never know. I mean, you got 24 teams coming to state, from all different classes. Everybody's playing their best ball. Everybody thinks they got a chance to win it, and everybody's confident. You want to play it out. So even if it was a game like that where it's just kind of mythical, and man, yes, absolutely, man. We got some hoopers over here, man. They want to hoop.
Coach, I think I just came up with something, Coach.
Oh, hell, there you go. I know.
There we go.
Coach, no, Coach. Coach, when you said mythical, Coach, it hit me. Coach, right. I am a horse racing aficionado. Been to the Kentucky Derby, own a horse. Coach, this weekend they had a simulated Kentucky Derby. They had all the best horses of all. My favorite athlete of all times, y'all look it up, is Secretariat. My favorite, y'all notice I didn't say horse. My favorite athlete of all time is Secretariat. Go look up his record. Excuse me. Big Red's record, nickname Big Red. So they simulated each horse in their time, going around the track. They had a Firm. They had a Bo Ruler, not Bo Ruler, the guy who just, a Pharaoh. All the guys who, everybody who won the Triple Crown. And they simulate. So could we get one of these techies or one of these tech guys to simulate all of your players and all of the Ace players and just do it on one of those 2K type of games?
I'm almost certain somebody can do that. They'd have to be from out of the state of Texas, though. How about that?
Well, definitely, hey, Coach, man, we definitely appreciate the chat with you, and thank you for chopping up with us on the Chop Shop. We are at the end of the clock, man. That was a good combo. We want to get you back on in a couple of months once the UIL substantiates the rest of their calendar. We're going to get across a lot of things, and congratulations on this season. We really do, man, and we really do appreciate the effort that you've done in those short 3-year span. And they know who Faith Family is around the state of Texas now. And hopefully after this year, they may know you guys nationwide. So once again, appreciate it. And congratulations on your successful season this year.
Thank you so much, Coach.
You guys. Definitely, man. Thanks for having me, and much success to you guys as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, and that was, of course, guys, that was our third guest. And that was Brandon Thomas. Guys, you know, he actually coached Jabari Parker while he was in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Jabari played for Mean Streets. So that's what I recognized. I knew I recognized.
Oh, okay.
And I thought about it, even though Jabari played for Mean Streets before going over to Mac Irvin and playing with the Mac Irvin Fire the rest of his high school days. But so Coach was on that Mean Streets staff. That's the program that produced Derrick Rose, guys, Mean Streets up in Chicago. And they came in and cut in. And once they came in on the scene, it pretty much knocked out the Illinois Warriors that was founded by Larry Butler. Larry Butler back in the days. The old Illinois Warriors pretty much faded to black, and he went over to the girl side and moved, but that was a great thing. Next up, we are going to be joined by David Montano, and he's the head coach at Stafford High School. And we're going to get him on shortly. But meanwhile, I want to give a shout out to a lot of you guys. Thanks so much. Keep the questions coming. That is great that you guys are doing, because that way it makes this broadcast a full interactive conversation. We have the YouTube streaming. We have the Facebook streaming. Everybody's streaming live and getting in and right on cue.
Yes.
Hey, guess what? I told Hannah, he was like, who you going to get for Tuesday? I said, Hannah, Tuesday is Cinco de Mayo, baby. I say, so one thing I'm going to make sure, I'm going to represent Cinco de Mayo. And this is what we're going to do right now. Of course, we have, Coach David Montano is live with us on the Chop Shop. Not chop up names all day, Coach. What's the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Montano.
Montano.
See how
you said it right, Jimmy.
See that? You see how you gotta let that so I can roll them R's and the ends, boy. Sandra got me getting in there. But anyway, Coach, congratulations on your season at Stafford. Tell people exactly where a lot of people in Houston are unaware where Stafford High School is located. Tell them where you're located, approximately.
Well, we're located as you're coming out of Houston off 59 South, right there, as you're right by Sugarland. Right before you get to Sugarland, if you're coming south, you make a quick left off 90 and you go down about a mile, and then there you go. You run into Stafford, and you might blink, you'll miss, and then all of a sudden you run into Missouri City. So it right next to Missouri City, surrounded by Houston and Fort Bend.
And so you've been there for how many years?
This is my second year as a head basketball coach at Stafford.
And of course you came over from Lamarck High School.
Yes,
right?
I was at Lamarck. Yes, sir. I was at Lamarck for 5 years.
And now tell us the since being there, you came, of course, you compete in Region 4, which Region 4, most of the Houston teams, you guys get confused, they compete in Region 3. So you guys annually go into the Region 4, which involves what teams? Like from what cities primarily?
Well, you're looking at Wharton, Royal, Needville, the surrounding areas that people would recognize. And then you work your way down to Victoria, to San Antonio, to South Texas, Austin.
Yeah, that's a lot of ground. So now you guys with Stafford emerged from Region 4 as the champions, and you were scheduled to play Argyle in the semifinal game, which was taking place on Friday, the 13th of March. Where were you when you received the news that the UIL had postponed the UIL state tournament?
We were we were actually on the court. We were at a local high school. I got some friends in San Antonio and we were utilizing their gym. and we were going through a walkthrough, just kind of shooting right before lunch, and then we figured we'd have a little lunch and then go get our shoot around in at the Alamo Dome. I think it was set for 3:30. But yeah, that's where we were at. We were actually going through the workout. Quick walkthrough when we got the call.
And how did the kids take it once you received the UIL last week sent out made the final declaration on how they would treat this season, and which they've shied away from naming co-champs. They said everybody would get memorabilia from the tournament. The players would get gold medals, and you would get like trophies, but no co-champs. How does that resonate with you?
Well, first, when we spoke to the kids at that area at that gym we were shooting at, and it was they were basically in shock. Even though we as coaches had talked about it and said, this might not happen, as it gets closer and closer to the weekend, after NCAAs were canceling and at the NBAs were canceling, obviously you're going to have to follow suit. And obviously for everybody's help. And we kind of figured it would happen, and sure did. So they kind of took, surprisingly, they were in shock for a moment. Then, teenagers, let's go eat, coach. So we went to eat and we stayed there that night and came back the following morning. UIL making their decisions, it's tough. It is a hard thing when you sit at the top to make those decisions that affects a lot of people. It really is. To be a leader in this day and age, it just makes, you're not going to please everybody. You just gotta look at it and what's in the best interest of the people and everybody involved. So I understood and the situation, and as now that we all know how bad it was, how bad it is, everybody kind of we understand that. But at the time, we understood the situation, and our kids did too. Nobody wants to play with their lives, and we certainly didn't want that to happen as well. So it's a hard decision for them to make, but it was made, and I think it was in the best interest of everybody. As far as what they're doing now with not saying co-champs or whatever it may be, I guess, in a sense, I know some other states have said, yes, these are all co-champs. UIL just kind of came out and said, look, we're going to give you all this medals and trophies, and you guys decide how you want to celebrate your kids, so it's really up to the schools how they want to celebrate. And I get it. So these kids, they work their tail off. Getting there is hard enough as it is, and especially in Texas, as big as it is, so many schools, so many rounds. You got to have a little luck along the way, injuries and so forth. So getting there is tough. So I understand what UIL is saying. I don't know what other schools are doing, how they're going to recognize their kids. So I really can't answer for everybody else. But it's a tough decision.
And indeed. And so now I was looking on your roster. You have 10 players returning next year.
Wow.
10. Previous coach has 9. You have 10 coming back. What should we expect from Stafford High School in 2020-21?
Well, it's we have 5 guys coming back with really, really a lot of experience. They either started at some point in time, started some games, or came off the bench, and then we have 4 more that have a lot of playing experience as well. So I think we're going to compete. The biggest thing for me is, even when I was at Lamarck, it's just sometimes I sit back and look, and I'm like, we've never really had a superstar, superstars that are blatantly D1 athletes or whatever it may be. I don't know what it is, either whether I'm snake bitten or what, but I've never had that. I think the tallest player I've ever had was 6'4", and this year we were no more than 6'4", and then everybody down. So we've been pretty blessed. I've been pretty fortunate to have a good coaching staff and work. The kids just got to want to buy in. The first year is always tough because you want to set a new precedent and you got a new scheme, and and it just takes time for them to buy in. So I think we're going to compete. We're going to be pretty. I think we'll be better than this year, simply because this is my third year of the scheme, the new coaching staff. I think they're going to now. You've been here 3 years, so you must have bought in already to come back and play for us.
Coach, I got a question from
Yes,
one of the friends, Clarence Harris. We had to pray for him, Coach. He asked, "Did you play? Did you play basketball?"
I did play when I was in high school. I played all the way through my junior year, and I wasn't half bad. I wasn't half bad, Mr. Hatter. I was pretty good. I was a pretty good little shooter, and I was always pretty quick. But I was more of a football, baseball guy.
Okay.
So I focused into those sports my senior year, and actually I went to play football. I played college football at A&M Kingsville.
Oh.
So I kind of, you got to be self-aware of what you think you want to go play at the college level. So I was self-aware, and I went to go play football.
Smart man. Yeah.
Now, what high school, Coach, did you come from?
I came from Donna High School. That's down in South Texas.
Okay, Donna High School. And what college?
A&M Kingsville, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Okay, so Region 4 is your old stomping ground.
It is my stomping grounds. It felt good to go home and win some games there. So I've been there. When I was at Lamarck, we went there 2 years, and we won those 2 years, got to state, and then obviously this year. So it was good to go home.
So now, what goes on? Yesterday, one of the viewers asked a good question about coaches in the playoffs and in officials. Can you give us a brief analysis of how are the officials decided upon during the playoff games of high schools, and what happens if the two coaches can't agree?
Well, you first start, you obviously you communicate with the other coach, and then you just kind of, we use, like, for example, this is my first year using Houston officials, the chapter. And so, for example, our guy could have used College Station chapter, whatever it may be. And then we just kind of usually scratch those two off, and then we'll start, okay, what do you think are the best officials in the state of Texas to, the type of basketball that both of you play, and you certainly want to be able to communicate that with each other. And then, and you start striking, or you say, hey, how do you feel about, Fort Worth chapter or the North Texas chapter? Those two sound great. And then you submit those to the UIL and say, hey, pick those, one of these for us. Or you can simply say, hey, let's just use the Fort Worth chapter, and then you move forward. Normally it's not that bad. The communication between coaches, they know they've been doing this long enough. They know kind of where the good chapters are. But if you just cannot get it together and say, well, we don't agree, then you just leave it to UIL. You fill out the form and say UIL assigned, and they'll assign a chapter for you.
And now, what about this, like determining a neutral site, and why do you not see schools opt to flip the coin versus home that much in the postseason? How does that go in the play?
You got to be, like I said, self-aware, and you got of your environment and your venue. Is your high school hold enough people? Number one, are you going to slide some people that can't make it or can't get in? So you got to look at your own facilities if you want to do that. And then, of course, mileage is the next thing. How far is the school from you? And I mean, if it's a 3-hour trip just for your first round game, bi-district game, well, that's a long ways for a bi-district game. So normally, you waver in that aspect, caution. I certainly don't want to travel 3 hours away on a Tuesday and have to come back on Wednesday for school and my kids, and so forth. So you kind of weigh those options, say, well, if we're not too far away, yeah, let's flip our home at home. But if you're too far away, you try to find a middle ground somewhere, and hopefully a nice venue. Kids, I like my kids to play in a nice venue also. So, we're trying to find the best venue possible that the kids can play in. And my mindset is always, I sure like to try to get in a venue type like a state tournament, where there's no walls. You got to get your kids used to, that perception, that depth perception that there is no wall behind that basket. And so that's always been my mindset. I want my kids to play in a venue that's going to prepare them for the regionals or the state tournament.
Now, what's the one postseason game, since you've been in this greater Houston area, in the playoffs, that had the most difficulty in determining the refs and the venue? Sometimes I've heard stories where coaches would flip for everything. What's the most thing that you had to flip a coin for in preparing for a playoff game?
This year was pretty simple. It was pretty easy. It wasn't very difficult at all. I mean, I've had some years where you had to flip for a ball, you had to flip for venue, you had to flip for officials, there's been a year or two.
Coach, why ball?
Because now that UIL has sanctioned that new Spalding, a lot of kids don't like that. A lot of coaches don't like it. So you can you don't have to play. You can play with any ball until you get to the regional tournament. Once you get to the regional tournament, you have to use a UIL sanctioned ball. But before that, most people are still using the Baden ball. And, it's just one of those things that, that kids, your coaches, you ask your kids, are you good with this ball? And if they say no, then you try to flip for your own ball. I've gotten to the point where, when UIL's got these new balls, I ended up buying a half a dozen and just say, hey, this is what we got to practice these every now and then, because there's going to be a team or two. And once you get to the regional tournament, the state tournament, this is the ball you have to play with. But I think the biggest problem I had was when I was at Lamarck. I think we were playing Taylor High School, and it was about shoot around time. It was about ball. It was about venue. God almighty, it was a pain in the rear and officials that, once we were beating them, I didn't take out my starters till late in the fourth, man. I said, you know what, this was a pain in the rear. Let's just make sure we beat them really well and we move forward. So so far it's been pretty easy. Coaches are very, believe it or not, are very, easy going when it comes to this. It doesn't matter what venue, where you're at. I mean, either you're going to play, your kids are going to play well, or they're not going to play well. So at the end of the day, it's been pretty good the years that I've been coaching.
How do you got one?
No, I'm good.
Last question, Coach, and that is, somebody asked you, what got you into so much detail and planning ahead of time? Was it always like it, or was it a particular loss that drove that particular attribute?
I'm very thorough, I guess, in a sense. I'm very anal about things like this. My first coaching gig was actually as a graduate assistant at the college level at Texas A&M Kingsville. I was a graduate assistant football coach. I coach football also, and so that was my first coaching gig. So all I ever knew was about watching film and detail and so forth. Over there they work 7 days a week. And at that level, so that just followed me along, and ever since then I watched a lot of film. I'm very anal about things, just like I am in the classroom. I teach like I coach, and I coach like I teach. I mean, I only know one way, so it's that's the way I do things. And my coaching staff is really good about it as well. They do a great job, and we just very detailed about things like this. I just feel like, at least you prepare your kids to the best of your ability, and whatever happens, happens. But at least you did, I can look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, we did the best job we could as far as preparing our kids. Now it's about, it's their time to go play. So, our kids do a good job as well following game plan. So that's where I first learned it, and it's followed me ever since.
Well, hey, Coach, man, we definitely want to congratulate you and the Stafford Spartans on a great season. The guys, they went 32-9 on the season, won over 30 games. Wow. And as I mentioned earlier, he has 10 players returning, 5 of the key players. And how many of those are football players, Coach?
This coming year, I believe only one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, hey, guess what? Well, we're definitely gonna be on the lookout for this Stafford team because so that they will not creep up on anybody as far as the lack of exposure I'm talking about in Houston and Greater Houston. It is time. The time is right to embrace this because it seems like a lot of people treat you guys as though you are out of town. And as you mentioned, they are closer to downtown than Sugar Land. They are closer. And that's amazing. And it's remarkable. A lot of people don't really think of it like that. That's why you guys about Thurgood Marshall High School is about how far from Stafford?
About a mile or less than a mile.
Yeah,
right
down the street from Thurgood Marshall High School is where Stafford High School is.
Coach, don't y'all have a civic center over there, right?
Yes, we do.
I've been to an event over there before. Yes. Yes.
Way back in the trap, I used to run concerts and stuff over there.
No, I went. Last year they had a big Christmas thing out there. Y'all had a big Christmas function out there. It was nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, we definitely thank you so much, man, for coming and chopping it up with us on the Chop Shop. We appreciate you guys. Once again, congratulations at your success at this destination, and we look forward to big things from you guys next season.
Appreciate y'all having me. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. That's Coach David Montano, guys.
Yeah, great job, Coach.
And great combo, guys. One of the things about this platform, it gives all of us an opportunity to learn and first of all, you understand the coach. You learn the fabric of his philosophy and his program. Then you'll feel like you know him when you see him. And guess what? Indirectly, it makes you root for him.
Oh yes, I can't wait. Yes,
that's one of the things. So our next guest is coming up in a couple of minutes will be Greg Wise of Houston Yates High School. And Greg Wise definitely is no stranger to the state tournament. Understand, guys, having been there in 2002 and 2003 with the Hightower High School program with Lanny Smith back in those days. He went there twice then. And then, guys, understand something. The Yates High School has been to the state tournament. Of course, they went with Ricky Winslow back in 1983. That was, to me, that's the greatest team that did not win the state championship in the history of this state. That Yates High School, Ricky Winslow, Carvin Holcomb, Stacy Belcher, Clement Pink.
What happened to him, Jimmy? What happened to him? What happened?
Fort Worth Pascal just pulled the Buster Douglas on him. And that's basically, it happens. That's why upsets are called upsets.
In the finals?
No, in the semis, I think.
So they made it. So they made it to the state, but they just lost.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the best, greatest team that made it to state.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that way. You got a first certain player that did not win was that Ricky Winslow team of 1983. That team.
My bad.
At one point in time, Ricky Winslow was playing the point guard. Seriously, a lot of the game, he was a 6'6", McDonald's All-American. And so, but meanwhile, since '83, Jack Yates has been to the state tournament 2009, 2010, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2019, and in 2020. Now, meanwhile, we got feedback coming from somewhere.
That's G-Wise. G-Wise, turn your other device down over there, ball.
And meanwhile, as a coach, as I mentioned, Hightower High School went in 2002 and 2003. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? In 2005, 6, and 7, Kingwood High School went to the state tournament. So that means
wait a minute. Who was coaching that team? Wait a minute.
Because Nick Wise and DeAndre Wise during those 3-year span that Kingwood went. So he's at the state championship by default. Earned indirectly or directly 2002, 2003, 2005, 6, 7, 2009, 10, 12, 13.
Whoa. Jimmy, hold up. He didn't coach. Did Greg coach the Kingwood teams too?
No, but from the stadiums.
But his son. Oh, okay, I got you. So you scared me there, man. So you saying Issa Wise has been to the state championship that many times consecutive?
I lost count. I wasn't even actually counting them. But Greg Wise can tell us how many times combined.
Wait a minute. You're gonna introduce him first.
Yeah.
Give him his proper introduction.
You want to do this?
No, I'm gonna let you do it.
And understand, guys. Most Madison High School product, HBU product. You understand? It's been a head coach in HISD, Lee High School, Jeff Davis High School. I'm missing something else in between, and of course, Jack Yates High School, where he's took them and turned that program into greater heights, unto unexpected heights. And that is, as I've just mentioned about the state tournaments, it's remarkable. You take that 11-year span and realize what this team has done as far as the expectations. It's to the point right now where, think about it, if you don't make it to state, it's a disappointment. As we mentioned, until 2019, they finally dethroned Silsbee, who went 3 years in a row. That Silsbee thing. So now we have, without further ado, we have the last of our 5 speakers on Cinco de Mayo. And we're going to ask you right now to take out the time and share the show to your timelines right now, because this conversation is going to be epic. And that is right now. Share the show to your timelines and friends. If you're on the YouTube, make sure you give it thumbs up if you're liking what you're seeing right now. Let's get this thing rocking. We have Greg Wise of the Houston Jack Yates Lions live with us on the Chop Shop. Welcome to the Chop Shop, Coach. What's going down?
What's up, big fella?
Everything's going great. Just worried about trying to get all this in, and I ain't never been on the Chop Shop since y'all been there, and now I get 15 minutes. So let me ask you this: can I have 5 minutes to just talk, and then I'm probably gonna cover a lot of things that you're gonna ask, and then y'all gonna have the last 10, 15 minutes, whatever they is. Give me the first 5. Just
do your thing, boss.
Most of them gonna be addressing what you guys are already gonna ask.
Okay.
Know what that mean, huh? Know what that mean, huh?
Well, shut the hell up.
That means he just went and basically requested that we automatically going into overtime. That's what he's saying right now. You understand the verbiage. I know it's a certain language he speaks. He said, y'all gonna go to overtime with me. The other guy, you started me off late. The damn intro took 2 minutes. So let's go. Let's go. Coach, we got you rocking.
Do your thing, Coach. Do your thing, baby.
How many years?
I almost came out like Valvano, but I said, no, I still got some championships to try and win, so I don't want to make it look like I'm not gonna be here. But so first thing I want to talk about is when I had in mind to come on, my first tip was to not say anything negative about anybody.
Right.
And just to be positive in terms of what we're doing.
Right.
But I do have to address a couple of things, and so what I say, you can always go back and check, and I ain't gonna never say something that you can't go back and verify. So, for instance, if I was to come and say, Hitch, you was at the state tournament last year, you know our guys. If Reuben Jones don't hurt his ankle and be 50% of himself for 3/4 of the game, if Antoine Norman, who was the district MVP and the regionals MVP, and Reuben was second district MVP and second in regionals, and then the only senior we had, Joe, who had hurt his back, but Reuben gets hurt. Antoine missed the whole week of practice. The first time he hit the court, because he had bronchitis, first time he hit the court was when we played Faith Family. And so if I was to come to you and say, man, if we had him, we win that game. But I didn't say that because all that is conjecture. So that's never gone out of my mouth to anybody at any time. So, I hear at the beginning of the show when Coach said something about don't get it twisted, that we wanted them more than I guess they wanted us. But the truth and the fact of the matter is that when we went to Dallas and again, that's your guy, so you can call him right now. And he asked me if we wanted to pay Faith Family. I talked to Ruben, Antoine, and to a T, every one of them said, Coach, we would have beat them last year. Why we want to go play them? If they get the state, we'll see them now. But give us a national team. So if we was that much, trying to get that game together, we could have went down that then. And we both were minus some players, so it probably wouldn't have been the same thing. But the truth of the matter is that our focus was to go there and try and win a state championship. Didn't matter who it was. And it just so happened to be at the end. And to be honest with you, I kind of thought it might not be them. And so, we scouted 3-4 teams before that happened. So when it gets to them, that's an added, and I'm not going to sit there and say that's not an added in terms of, that makes it even better. We wanted to get back, and now we got a chance to get back and play that team. But the whole year going up there, that wasn't even a thought. How many minutes I got? 3?
Keep going, Coach.
Come on.
Coach, you do whatever you want to do, Coach.
Let me get to the the coaches in that. When you look at, I don't know who this Favre is, but the chop shop should be truth when you talking mess, not something that's so far from the truth it's ridiculous. You brought up Snoop Johnson.
Okay.
I have never lost a game and hadn't been the utmost respect for the other team. So to insinuate that I'm bitter about a loss, we lost to Snoop. We lost to the current Dallas Madison coach.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop, as soon as I get to Dallas, the first person he come hug is me and give me a hug, and we take pictures together.
Mm-hmm.
Bitter, Silsby. We lose to them, that's about as much of a rival as you can get. And we hug and talk, and so to get on there and I guess try and make yourself look good by saying somebody's bitter. Nobody can sit and say I've never taken a loss and hadn't been with the utmost respect for the other team, the other coach. So I kind of took that as a little bit of something that shouldn't have been said. They beat us. I respect them. I've never said anything negative about them, the coach, or anybody else. So where's the bitter at in that? So now let me get to a couple of fun things. You brought up the Last Dance. The most fun I had since this epidemic is we have Zoom meetings and conversations with the whole team. And we're always arguing about who is better between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And Reuben Jones had nerve enough to try and challenge me on who's the best. And I told him up so bad that Braylon got on there and said, and let me say this, if any coaches ain't done this, the most fun you can have is get all them dudes on there together and get to talking and get to laughing and talking about what's going on. And man, that's the most fun you can have. And it's still keeping your team together.
Right.
But how do you like this? I had to go to the salary thing on Ruben and Elliott, and they talking about how LeBron. I said, man, LeBron make $480 million. Mm-hmm. I said, Michael Jordan make $2 billion. Yeah. And then he said, well, and then Chooks joined in on my side and sent Ruben a picture of Michael Jordan's airplane.
Uh-huh.
And then I come back and say, well, LeBron James, best player in the league, Michael Jordan, owner of one of the teams that he playing against. Case closed. So then I go to that, and I sent him that picture that I sent you guys so you can make sure you understood I was telling the truth.
No. I got it, Coach. Keep talking. I'm going to put it up in a second.
Back in 2010, when we won that national championship, and Tony Dorado, who great in terms of, and Hicks, him great in terms of what he does with Nike and with us, and if we hadn't went to Hawaii that year, we could have never won a national championship because we played national teams that were ranked. And so, and we just got invited back to that again, to Hawaii again for next year. So I say that to say that's what got me. Tony's the one that got me to coach in the Jordan game that year. And the crazy thing about that is we took a picture with the coaches And the first thing he come up to me and said, man, I had to get a tape of y'all. So this is to show you that we have put ourselves on the map, not only sitting statewide, but nationally wise. And he came and said, man, I had to put a tape on y'all. And he said, some of that stuff I saw y'all doing, he said, now he did, he being MJ, he did say, now I would have gave y'all 60. And then I'm being me, I said, yeah, you'd have gave us 60, but we probably would have beat y'all by 60, So that's the kind of fun relationship we had. And Kyrie Irving, who was a guard on my team, and he walked up to me and said the same thing. He said, Coach, I'd have gave y'all 50. I said, yeah. But I done watched you because I knew I was going to be coaching you. I saw y'all team. We'd have beat y'all by 100. and so that's the kind of, when you go back to the Last Dance and stuff with Jordan. And so that's I just wanted to throw that part in.
Coach, you also sent me a picture, Coach, of a ring. You also sent me a picture of a ring. What's that ring?
So that's not the final. That's an example because I'm gonna let the guys pick. But I just wanted to, and again, the coaches Wilson and Wilson. I don't know if you know this, but Justin, who's his assistant coach, was his brother, and Justin and Nick played together on Calvin Murphy's team, and they were like 7, 8 years old coming up. So I've been knowing them ever since then. His daddy, his older brother, played running back at Yates. Daddy, and they from Yates and from the area, so that's how close we are. But I did want to, I know he mentioned, that they wouldn't be getting rings, and so that's a school thing. I don't really understand why he chose that or why anybody would choose that. But for our guys, when you can look back and you can get a ring that says, and we put state championship on the side, or it will be. We got about 5 or 6 examples. I just sent you one.
Okay.
But if you can get a ring, and we looking to have him at 21 in the middle, which was a national record that we broke for 100-point games in a row. And then we finished number 1 in the state. So on the side, we're not saying state champion, we're saying number 1 in the state.
Okay.
And so that's something that they can, always remember when you come back and they look at a ring, or somebody might even have the necklace on, and we looking at doing a version of that even for our alumni and people from Yates, and so I say that to say on the ring side, that's something that we'll probably be doing. And in respect of that, it kind of goes into when you look at our alumni. Man, I'm talking about what they do in terms of showing support, the neighborhood, and I'm going into that because Coach Peavy, who again that's my partner there, but the one part I have to disagree with him on is that he mentioned that he had the best coaching staff by far in the country. Not best coaching staff by far, and so that's what I mean. Anybody can, and I think the coach of Faith Family said he had the best coaching staff. I don't know if I got the best one, but I can say this as a total group. When you look at, you got a Willie Patrick who's went to state championships as a head coach. You got a Barlow, Eddie Barlow, who in first year teaching, outside of coaching, that dude got teacher of the year. Not teacher of the week, not teacher of the month, teacher of the year. And so, and he's just as good on the court in terms of individually understanding guys this age, how to deal with them and everything for that concern. And then everybody got to have a Ronnie Morgan who can do anything that you need in terms of everything on the outside, not on the court. And then you guys have already spoken and talked to Mr. Dooley in terms of how great he is on the academic side, best in the country. In my opinion, I can't say the best in the country because I don't know everybody. But in my opinion and what he does for us, and I know what college coaches come back and say to us in terms of, what he does in terms of our kids qualifying and of that nature. And then you got a Michael Young who helps us with weightlifting and great at that. And so when you look at the total and then you add all that in with a principal that rides with you, she makes sure on the academic side that's done first. And that's why Yates was awarded for moving up academically this year. But in terms of athletics, she's with you. Funny thing is that she couldn't even come to the Lamarck game because somebody told her that Lamarck was ranked number 1 and we was ranked number 3 or something like that. Mm-hmm. She thought we were 1, but she just assumed, well, maybe she had it wrong. Mm-hmm. So she said, well, I can't go to the game because I can't stand to watch them lose. So when we played Lamarck, she couldn't even come to the game. So that shows how much, she cares about our kids and the program and that kind of thing. And so last year when we lost, I don't know if I've ever seen a principal. She was in there so much that she was lining up, handling our medals, and she had tears in her eyes. And I told her, I hugged her right then and told her, don't worry about it, that we'll be back here next year and we'll win it. And she reminded me of that every, 2-3 times a month in terms of that. So that just shows the total thing that we got going over there, from the alumni to the community to the teachers and the staff, and so everything is as good as I can ask for in that respect. One of the things you mentioned on the 30-minute shoot around, and I know some people probably try to say that the Dallas team didn't want to come, so Hightower. Let me just say, just be truthful. Hightower, Coach Woods, his team, they not gonna fear nobody. Same thing with Dallas Lancaster.
Right.
I've been knowing that coach since he was an assistant. Hicks, I don't know if you remember this, but when Bosch and Allen was playing, he was an assistant. We were playing them. I was at Hightower, so I've been knowing them ever since then.
Okay.
Neither one of them guys gonna fear nobody. Neither one of them teams gonna fear nobody. So for them to go to a 30-minute shoot around, all you're gonna do is shoot. So what, nobody's going to see anything. So it's not like Dallas was scared. Neither one of them teams scared. Same thing with Coach Wilson, and they playing against, if they playing against Duncanville, both of them dudes are competitors, and both of those guys got players, and you got players like that, you fear nobody. Now, when you play a team like we did in regionals, and they come out and they trying to stall the ball and just try to make sure you're not already saying we done lost. We just trying to make sure they don't go 100. Then you probably can say, yeah, they were scared. But teams like that Dallas team and Hightower and no, they finna go out there. And even with us and Faith Family not scared of us. We ain't scared of them.
Right.
But I love the fact that he agreed to that game. So can we set that up as soon as it's legal and it's okay? Let's get that game done.
Adam put the project together. I mean, that was his thought.
I'm working on it, Coach. I'm working on a venue.
I just simply served. You got to hit that highway. You got to drive down there. You got to do that in person.
Coach, Coach, excuse me. My assistant is doing all that for me. You feel me? I don't have to go myself, but I'm working on the venue.
Who would coach your team, Coach?
Huh?
Listen, I have somebody that can coach, but I don't even want to put in a stipulation in terms of who's gonna do this, who's gonna do that, who's gonna do. Man, get the game.
Okay, I'm working.
We figure all that out. We figure all that out then. And if any other team want to join in, feel free. But we already got one that say he good, I'm good. So, whether you want to donate that to charity or whatever you want to do.
My proposal would be simple. A simple one proposal that I would acknowledge to it. And that is minus the expenses for the door. You can't get many people in anyway because of social distance. Mm-hmm. So that means you have to be a cap on how many grown-ups come in per kid. That's one thing would have to be in effect. Number two, how you could do it is if there's some people out there that are small business owners or in a position economically that they would want the game to transpire, that they would be willing to to become a sponsor, meaning that they would get their banners up and get their name on a program or whatnot, and for like a couple of $100. Then take that money and give it directly to the schools that's involved, minus the referee costs and the security costs. Give every penny to the schools that where they got to pay for gas or whatnot for coming that way. Now it's truly for the love of the game. It's too many folk that hide behind love of the game, but really they looking like, okay, let's get this bread. Now, give it all to them. Put it in, get the door over the door. That means they'll work the doors and shifts.
But the door is not going to be, Jimmy, it's going to be limited fans. So it can't be about the door. It's going to be limited fans.
Guess what? You're right. You know what? If you get a facility, like normally they require police officers based on how many people you expect to be in there. I say to hell with the cost. You're right, Hal. Don't even charge at the door, because if you get the sponsors, think about it like this. If you get 10 people that say they're willing to donate $200 a piece, that's $2,000. That means if it's 4 teams playing, they're each walking away with about $400 a piece, because the other 100 will go toward referees and miscellaneous stuff that they got to pay the person sweep the floor, the clock keeper, whatever. So that means that's about $400. That's good.
I got something for you, Coach. They talking about some people. I guess some people just think different. I don't think this way. But Stacey Houston, somebody, if Wise and Thomas not coaching, it's not going to have the same impact. Let me tell you something. Wise and Thomas don't play. I want to see those players go out and play. I know they make adjustments, but guess what? Then you'll find out what team really has been coached. Guess what? If you're well coached and you got your troops ready to roll, your troops gonna roll anyway. Your troops gonna be ready to roll. So I don't think the game will have less luster on it, because guess what? I have never in my life, Greg, much as I love you, I sit there and came to a game to see Greg Wise. I came to see your team play. You ain't played. You ain't doing nothing but standing up there looking at everybody. So I don't believe in that, Stacey. I disagree with you. I think the game would have the same impact for those two teams, and that Hightower and that other team. I think it would be that same impact with the players out there. I'm sorry.
I totally agree. I actually think it would be even more, because of when you look at everybody hadn't had basketball all this time, and most people are not going to do it. And let's say a month from now, we had that game, or 2 months from now, because nobody, I think Faith Family, most of their guys are coming back anyway. Colleges are not doing nothing in the summer. So if you look at, and again, I look at it not for me, I look at it for how hurt our kids were. Yeah. So if that's anything that we can do that can let them relieve that, and that's on both sides, it doesn't matter if I'm coaching. I could sit there and say, man, I ain't coaching. I don't want to do that. No, it's about the kids. And if they can get that, off of their shoulders both ways, and I don't know whether it's being videoed, you never know. A month or two from now, they may have where everybody can get tested as you go in. And so you never know what's going to happen 2 months from now. And so if you can get tested, they just test you as you go in. If you good, no. If you ain't good, then you need to go either home, or if you're really sick, you need to go to the hospital.
Coach, we turn them around like y'all.
Way,
so. Coach, you turn them around like them game when y'all were at Lamar, when y'all played Lamar. So a lot of people got turned around at that game. We'll turn them around just like they got turned around at that game. But, Coach, let me tell you something. As we speak, my assistant has called. See, Jimmy think I'll be playing around. We might have a venue as we speak in Huntsville right now. In Huntsville right now, they're working on the particulars.
But, Coach, understand, I strongly doubt that the Dallas team would drive to Huntsville.
So give me another city then.
How far would you be willing to drive up 45, Coach Wise? How far would your players be willing to drive up 45? Put it like that.
How far we'd be willing to go?
Yeah.
Dallas.
Boy, you Jimmy, you must don't know who you talking to. Yes, you do. You know who you're talking to. You know who you're talking to. Nah. Wait a minute. How about that?
Whatever we need to do
Uh-huh.
to get the game going, I'm willing to work that out. Whatever we need to do. So if it can't be a midway and we got to go to Dallas to get it done, for my kids, I'm good.
And I got an idea I mentioned about that proposal. I gave just a random number. I said if certain sponsors were to you can get 10 sponsors, right? That was my magic number. 5 from each city, whoever, to sponsor. Especially if it goes to Dallas. I mean, 5 from Dallas, 5 from Houston. They definitely can count the Chop Shop in as a sponsor.
Oh, we sponsored that one, baby.
We'll throw something in the pot. But here's my thing. I thought about it. Okay, this is where the entire allotment of the donations of the sponsor pool kitty would be going. Here's what you do. You take that, just say if it's $400 left over after expenses. The cars that drove the kids up there, whatever's left, you gap that down, go to the gas station, and you fill it. Everybody top their cars off before leaving back from the facility from Dallas, and you bust it down. That way, if it's 10 cars that's going, each get $40 worth of gas to come on back home. That way now it's transparent.
Jimmy,
know if it's for the kids, then don't leave no stone unturned in regard to volunteering or giving your time to make it happen. I just think it'll be the good thing about it, you can stream it and other people can see it. So that was the question mark. Guess what? More people nowadays watch games online via Baller TV or whatnot than any. So that means Alan Branch them have their company that he's affiliated with that does streaming. So guess what? They might be willing to step up and they do streaming and stats with it. That way you don't have to go to California to get a Baller TV to cut a deal on this. We got people in Texas that do this type of stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
it would make us, what it would do, I guarantee you one thing, think about the pre and post game exposure to the rest of the country that you guys would get from just the thought of that game. It would wake the whole country up.
Yes. And Jimmy, wait a minute. I mean, y'all got my mind working. This Stacey Houston has got my mind working. When I get off this phone, GY, I just met Mr. Thomas today. Let me tell you something, but guess what? I got his number. See, Brandon, I got your number now. So Coach, I would like to see that game happen for those seniors. I mean, Antoine, Ruben, those guys, and they're not going to be with you, Coach. You got all of those guys leaving, man. And you know how Yates are. And you Jimmy, Greg Wise just did your favorite thing to do. He eliminated the excuse. Jimmy, that's one of your favorite words. Look here, man, just eliminate the excuse. I'll come to Dallas. Wow. We got to make that happen, man. We got to figure, we owe it to ourselves. Then it's Chop Shop. You know, Greg Wise, let me tell you something. It was just a pipe dream to me. It was a feel a dream to me, you know, like Kevin Costner. I was just hoping that the White Sox are come and show up for this field. But guess what? If we mess around and build it, they will come. And we got to figure this thing out. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we owe it to ourselves to give it a shot. We owe it. And guess what? We got to take a look at Hightower coming up that road too, Jimmy, because the other team is in Dallas also. So we got to, and we can make it a doubleheader.
I mean, it definitely can be done. You have to put a gap between the games, and this way, it would take a collective effort. And the way that my suggestion would be, if you are serious in becoming a sponsor to get, I mean, it's in good faith.
Yeah.
Understand something. It's in good faith.
Yes.
So, I mean, because we know somebody has to win, somebody has to lose, but it's in good faith. Yes. Whoever wins, whoever loses, that's beyond. It's the thought is that these young men would have another moment to never forget for the rest of their lives because they will have totally overcome the tragedy and the turbulence of COVID-19 as far as the disruption of their scholastic season. Now, as a solution, they can make it happen. I don't have a problem. But if you are serious, then send an email to us, chopshophtx@gmail.com.
We talking about the sponsors. We ain't talking about Coach. Coach,
no,
we know
Chop
you
Shop. Yeah, we're not talking about them. Talking about the people that want to sponsor, because the community would be involved to help make this happen.
Yes.
That way, it's not a strain on no one. Just, it's not a, some people might feel
that's a good point, Jimmy.
That way now it's comfortable incentive. That way now a person wouldn't mind driving their own car, knowing that you got the gas. They got a tank of gas coming for their trouble.
Guess what it's called? Crowd sharing.
That's what it's called?
Crowd sharing. If a group of us get together and just make that happen, man, hey, I just love, Coach, I did not expect you to come on here and say that. I know how you feel about it, but I'm just, you started out great. You're the first one of our guests that came out and said, hold on. Hey, man, I want to make a statement first. You were so prepared. I saw your notes over there. Let me tell you something. Now you got my mind churning. I got people texting me time after time after time right now. Coach, we're gonna make a conscious effort. And Jimmy, give it that email address if you a sponsor and you want to help.
That's ChopShopHTX, ChopShopHTX @gmail.com. ChopShopHTX@gmail.com. That is.
And if I could add this, and I know yesterday Wilson said, but the seniors they're not really doing nothing with their schools this summer, so I wouldn't even leave 6A out here. Maybe let Wilson rethink that. And I'm pretty sure Duncanville wouldn't mind getting that thing.
Well, we asked Coach Wilson yesterday, and Coach Wilson's response was, those kids, they'll be property. He didn't mean the word as far as I know we know the context of what he meant. Property of Wyoming and U of H, meaning his 2-star kids. But maybe he may change his mind.
And guess what I found out, Jimmy? These kids won't be able to go to their college campus soon, like normally.
Oh, trust me, I know that.
Okay.
But I know that.
Okay.
And the other part about that is that anything I come on, I talk to my kids all the time about me making point guard moves. So if I say something, I done already kind of thought some things out before, and so. Don't think Reuben Jones' coach don't already know and then already said, okay, well, if that go down, I mean, we good. Don't think I got a couple of kids that's going to, junior college or what have you. The kids gonna play in the summer anyway. So why would you care if they go play one game against this group to finish out their senior year right, when they're gonna be in the streets playing where they got more chance of getting hurt playing street ball in the gym than they got against an organized group with some referees.
Wow. Boy, y'all have made let me tell you something, Coach.
So
go on, Jim. Go on, Jimmy.
I mean that you guys have just tuned into the Chop Shop. Head Coach Greg Wise just accepted the challenge for a possibility, a non-scholastic challenge. Mind you, so that people won't get confused. Some people run to the UIL. This has nothing to do. Greg Wise or our coach Brandon Thomas from Faith Family, they will not be driving any kid in the car with them. They will not be transporting the kids. The kids will not be wearing the Jack Yates High School school issued uniforms that are property of the schools. So those are all rules that does not govern non-scholastic for a certain school. So that means there are some schools out there that got practice jerseys that have been purchased for what I don't care if it was $1 by the kid, and they're property of the kids. So that's why sometimes you guys may see certain schools with a practice jersey on that's property of the kids. If it's property of the schools, then they are not permitted to do so. So we would ensure. And understand, Dallas, DFW, I know Stacey Houston is watching. Anybody out there that's watching, if Buff was on there earlier, if you're on there, understand, this is a no ego type situation.
Right.
If you're interested in helping
Help.
to help to put up and piece one of the bricks in this building to make this thing happen, then guess what? Just send an email so we'll know that way. Otherwise, we don't have everybody trying to do the same thing. That way now a person can say, okay, what can you get done? Like Stacey said, you can do programs. Great. That means now that's one thing we got to worry about. Somebody else might want to do t-shirts. And I got an idea of somebody that probably can put some t-shirts together to commemorate the event in itself. This thing could really happen.
Yeah. And Jimmy, one thing I want to reiterate on this show, because it's going to go all over the world, even in Japan. We got, Coach, I don't know if you know, we got fans in Japan.
I got a player there.
Okay. Greg Wise did not issue a challenge. I issued this challenge. Me and Jimmy talked about it a while back. And I saw, you got to understand, I saw the kids and I watched them. I saw how disappointed the Hightower kids were. I saw how disappointed the Yates kids are. Rod Wells, Ashley Jones, Reuben Jones, all of these kids. Let me tell you something. I had empathy for them because this has never happened before, y'all. These the same seniors who I said yesterday that were born, Jimmy, in 9/11. And now they're forced to not be able to go to their graduations and stuff like this. All we trying to do is give them some else before they go off to college, before they go off to be rocket scientists, before they go out to be whatever they are. Let me tell you something. Give them another chance to play their high school game that listen, y'all, let me tell you something. It's hard as hell to get to the state championship. I was a parent that my son and them didn't get close. We had to run up against the Twins, the Harrison Twins, 2 pros one year. We had to run up against the Martin Ranch one year. We had to run up against, who else? Cy Falls one year. It's hard to get there. And these kids, man, see, some people take it for granted. See, Greg done been there a million times. His sons done been there. My little poor baby didn't sniff to go to Texas, to Austin. So I know how hard it is. So I got empathy for the kids and the family. So that's where my heart lies. And if we can get it done, like Jimmy said, no politics. Let's leave the politics alone. The guys, in other words, in the famous words of Quincy Jones, who assembled some of the greatest amount of musical talent in the world to sing the song "We Are the World" for the world, because the world was sick and they needed to hear hit. His number one thing at the top of the door when you walked in, Michael Jackson, Shaka Khan, everybody, all of these guys walk in. He said, "Check your ego at the door, Greg Wise." That's what Quincy Jones said. Check your ego. In other words, leave that outside. Because when we in here, we about this thing. So what Jimmy is saying, and I am saying, check your ego at the door, and let's get this thing done.
And last, I want to give a shout out to Jack Yates' class of 1994. They are pledging a $500 sponsorship in the kitty to go in this pot to make it. So I'm just telling you guys, they're coming through. And once again,
let me throw something else at you.
Okay.
Right quick. It's so many things we could do with that in terms of getting. I mean, you can get some celebrities to jump in with it. I got 2 that play for me that might even be my coaches. You know, Damon Dotson and Joe Young, who gives back. And I would just like to add, while we on that, if you're a professional athlete and you're not giving back to the school that you went to, thing I'm most proud about, I can call Damian Dawson and ask him for anything. I can call Joe Young, and you guys already know if we need shirts or we need shoes for the players to wear in that game, both teams.
Wow.
Asking Joe Young to do that is like saying it's done. Asking Damian Dawson to help out and coach the team, them might be my 2 coaches. You know,
2 great men.
Pee Wee, Snap. You know, that's that's the great thing. What I feel about what our program has got to, where the guys want to come back and give back.
Unbelievable.
So if you're
And
not giving back, start doing it.
and we want to give a shout out to Coach David Peavy from Duncanville High School. He's on the YouTube
Oh, he is?
feed watching right now.
What's
And
up, Coach?
he said he just jumped on there because somebody hit him up, and he's like, let's get on. And he's interested, but he wanted to make sure that one of the coaches could coach. And I just replied, no, this is a non-scholastic function. It's a non-scholastic function, and it is not a for-profit event whatsoever. So it would be basically you just got in, Coach Peavy, and whoever other coaches over there watching right now. In 20 seconds, basically summarize it. Whatever that we get, we would seek sponsors, right, from each city, Houston and Dallas, who want to help put this together.
Yeah.
We would have to find a venue that's of a privately owned venue, right? Greg Wise, he just mentioned earlier that he's willing. Well, he and his program, of course, coming in separate vehicles, would be willing to drive all the way to Dallas if need be.
Yeah.
The fans would be limited as far as who could come into the building, only to a limited number per kid. Of course, you have chaperones that would be driving the kids, mom, daddy, whatnot. So that venue would have to be sizable enough to respect social distancing, and otherwise, and the money that's left over after paying for the referees and the maintenance person and the scorekeepers, it would be divided up and given to each team in equal proportions, which they would take possibly and either do what they want, but I would encourage them to give it to the drivers of the vehicles and go straight to the gas station and gas up. Well, in Dallas, it would be different because they're not driving far. So they possibly can make an earmark that to go towards somebody in their program who maybe have been affected from COVID-19 as far as unemployed or whatnot. That can go towards a family or whatever. But those are the basic concepts.
A lot of things can be done. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's a doable concept. And we would stream the games. Not we, but we would find an entity that's capable of streaming the game. And it's simple. That means now everybody can watch.
Yes.
And hell, we're watching, have a Zoom party or something while we're watching.
Jimmy, I don't like Zoom. Jimmy, I don't like Zoom.
I'm just using it as a slang. That's a slang. I'm not talking about, we're not for Zoom thing. We would have a watch party.
Yeah, we can have a watch party though. Yeah.
Right? And stream it during the game and pie y'all, and people can be watching. Hell, we can have the Chop Shop cameras now. We could actually stream the damn thing ourselves if we wanted to.
If we want. Coach, I'm going to tell you something unique, Greg, and it's on another topic, but at a high level. That's what's going on in the talks with Adam Silver. Talking about when we come back, how many, they was talking about how many cameras going to be on there. Because the NBA going to be in a bubble. And Greg, I don't know, Jimmy, I don't know if you heard of this, Jimmy. They were talking about different quadrants, like of 5 or 6 teams in different quadrants and staying in a certain hotel. They're going to have the same coaches, the same maids, the same cooks, the same everything being it. So, Greg, if somebody come up sick in that quadrant, they don't have to shut down the whole NBA, just shut down that quadrant. So it's just a lot of stuff going on. And Greg said something key. In a couple of months, let me tell you something. It's going to be an advancement of things going on with this virus. So this is a doable situation, Jimmy. And we just got to, right now we just got to do our due diligence. Stacey Houston, if he said they got a venue in Dallas, I believe him. He just said it 2 or 3 times. He gave me confirmation. I got a venue. Somebody else said they got a venue, but I trust Stacey's eyes. So guess what? If you can't get along, let's get it on. No, I shouldn't have said that. That's what we used to say in my hood. But I think it's a great thing. I enjoyed Coach Thomas coming on today. I enjoyed every coach, Coach Mobley, Coach Devers, Coach Thomas, Montano. And we saved the best for last. You know, Greg Wise, and he spearheaded this thing. I mean, he gave me a little shot in the arm. Coach, my little old dream had died because wasn't nobody calling me but my assistant. And now you just gave me a shot in the arm. Hey, I'm ready to work now. What else you got, Jimmy?
I mean, that's pretty much just kind of playing.
Just to piggyback real quick on that, I'd be willing to say the only way this game don't be played is if you, like you said, don't let politics and that kind of thing get into it.
Yeah.
Or you guys won't put it on y'all. If you guys don't do a good job making it happen, because he already agreed, I agree. You know, time is the only thing we got to wait on to make sure it's safe. But once it's safe, I mean, if the game not played, then politics got into it some kind of way. Because I'm good with whatever we need to do. And I can't speak for the other one. Maybe Dickerson might want to meet middle.
Right.
Might not want to come all the way to Dallas. But I'm saying for me, we'll do whatever we need to do to get the game done.
And that is awesome. And also we got Mr. Young says he's pledging $1,000 of sponsorship to make this happen.
Who that, Jimmy?
It can happen.
Who said that?
Mr. Young.
Vince Young?
Mr. Young. No, not Vince Young.
Vince Young. Okay.
Mr. Young. I'm looking in the email box. Look in the email box.
Okay. Okay.
Email.
I got you.
chopchophtx@gmail.com. And guys, it's very simple. So the way that it would work, if you're sponsoring, the way that it would work, you would hold on to your own money. And so that means now, at the time as the game nears, then we would go and we would find a way and brainstorm how to disperse it before we get there. That way nobody have to wait and you hold the pot up and somebody all of a sudden, but we'll find.
No, Jimmy, that's not good business. That's not good business. Jimmy, we'll have a what you call it, a Cash App thing. If they serious, because you just said something might happen. This guy might not be able to come. So if is this big, you got to realize when we getting these kids to go up on the road and do this, we got to make sure this thing is concrete. So we'll work out the logistics later.
And we got one comment.
Yeah,
we got one comment. Mm-hmm. We got one comment for you, Greg. Okay. And but not for you. It's in support of you in the Yates High School program.
Okay.
And that is from living legend, media icon, Ralph Cooper.
What?
My man.
Ralph Cooper says Dallas doesn't want to see Yates on a court in Dallas. He said excuses will be coming shortly from Dallas. That's the Ralph Cooper in the Facebook feed watching right now. Shout out to Ralph. We love you to death, man. And
I know you got to go, but let me say real quick that I've been knowing Ralph since, let me just say this right quick. I know you talked about Nick and you talked about Dundre, but me and Alvin Brooks were the first team All City guards when I was coming up. So I just want to make sure you understand they ain't get it by themselves. First team, not second. I'm going to send you a picture on that too.
Okay.
And Ralph was at the game when my junior year, without a three-point line, we broke Cashmere's 82-game win streak, and I went for 41. So don't get all that twisted.
Oh,
no. We need to see receipts.
Sure you got that part.
We need some receipts on that.
Ralph Cooper, ask him. He was at the game.
Hey.
Ralph Cooper was at the game. They called him in the middle of the game.
Ralph wasn't Ralph was late, wasn't? Was he at the whole game or was he late?
No, they called him when somebody told him something was getting ready to happen over there, and he made it over there before the game ended.
Because the grapevine tells me that Ralph Cooper was somewhere stuck over in the bottom with Lloyd Wells, and they was on a mission on that particular day.
And Greg, what's so unique? You just said something. We might be out of time. Let me tell you something. The unique thing about this platform right here, you're talking to the people in charge. We don't have to call the boss man and say, "Hey man, could we go?" You're talking to the people in charge. So Greg White, whatever you got to say, we can. I mean, it's okay. So you all right? You don't have to look at the clock. We make it happen.
What we'll do is we'll give an update. We'll pledge. Because there's so many other topics that we left on the table. Okay. And because I wanted to talk to you about some of the magical years, Greg, but then we got energy-wise. We next week.
Okay.
We done it with John Urie one time. We done it with Greg Wise back-to-back weeks. Next week, we will announce we will bring Greg Wise back for 1 hour. And that way he'll be able to answer a lot of your questions. We'll be able to talk a lot more basketball. And also we'll be able to reflect back on some of his best seasons and some of his players from yesteryear that played for him. And a lot of people may not be aware. Just like last year's team had a young man that was salutatorian or valedictorian almost of the school, and he ended up getting a free ride to U of H. And how many Division I players that you've helped to develop over your careers. So we'll give you that list, and we'll give you time to comprise that list, and we'll share that so a lot of people will truly feel the impact of which you have showered on the lives of many of these young men. Lastly, last thing I want to give you, we got about 40 seconds.
Okay.
I want you to give your thoughts on the kid that was part of your program. However, he transferred away last year, and this is the young man, Kalen Farouk, who invented his own brand of hand sanitizer. Guys, I'm holding it to the thing. This is a 12th grade student athlete. And understand, what are your thoughts when you first heard about what this young man, your former player, is in the 12th grade, just graduated, had basically derived in this concept?
Two things. One, as you said, he left Yates and went there. But the great thing about it is that we still are as good as if he was there. He came to all our playoff games. He came to the regionals and supported us. As soon as, going back to what Hatter mentioned, as soon as The Last Dance came on, I texted him and his dad, and I said, man, I remember when I sent y'all down there to Jordan's camp, and he ended up getting to shoot against Jordan, won the contest. The whole camp went up there and jumped all over his own video. And then his whole team got a free pair of Jordans for winning that game, for winning that shooting contest against him. So I texted him, and then he said, yeah, Coach, I remember. And they both said, man, as soon as this is over, because he's narrowed his choices down to 3, we got to go out to eat, and so we can talk before he heads off to school. So that just shows you, our relationship. And when he left, he was a number one in terms of, he would have been the number one student at his senior year at the school when he left. So that just shows you, how his parents brought him up and his mindset. And for him to come up with that, I'm not surprised at all.
Wow.
I mean, indeed, man. Thanks a bunch, Coach Wise, man. Great chopping it up with you on the Chop Shop. We've never went overtime like this far in the history of the Chop Shop. So you definitely set a record for taking us this far past the stop sign. And because my stomach over here growling. It's time for me to go dig in. But we want to appreciate. We'll get you back next week to reflect back on some of your seasons. And as well, I want to thank everybody for watching the Chop Shop today. Everybody who hung with us all the way through the overtime session, which Coach Greg Wise also in regards to the other coaches who were part of the program as well. That was Coach Greg Devers, who started off, Coach Darian Mobley from Dallas Madison, of course, started off. Greg Devers followed him. The third was David Montano.
Brandon Thomas.
Brandon Thomas, then David Montano, now Greg Wise. I got them all mixed up, but at least I got them right.
You got
Charge it to my head, not my heart, in that aspect. Thanks, guys, again. If you haven't done so, share the show. Once again, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor to making this vision a reality, send us an email, chopshophtx@gmail.com. chopshophtx@gmail.com. And also, you guys that are watching the Facebook feed, we invite you over to our YouTube page and subscribe to our page there. Same thing, same way you found us on Facebook, Chop Shop HTX. That's our handle on all social media platforms. But once again, on behalf of Robert Hatter, this is Jim Hicks. We're based in H-Town. This is the Chop Shop. We'll see you guys in 22 hours. Hal, show them what we got coming up tomorrow.
You want me to show you? Guess what, Jimmy? Gosh. Yo, Jimmy, talk for a second, because I didn't put it on. Just give me.
We got a surprise.
No, I want Greg.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
This is going to be one hell of a conversation, especially with all of the aftermath, the recent I want to say transactions, but the recent events that have transpired over the past 72 hours. Now, I want to give you guys a disclaimer that this guest was booked last week. Mm-hmm. It just happens to be ironic that we're having that person on tomorrow. So, and Hal is going to put it up and show you the flyer. And thanks to Sandra Menchaca Hicks, she's been on the ball. These flyers that she's been whooping out for the Chop Shop is unmatched and very easy and inviting for the eyes. So without further ado, Hal, you got it?
Hold on, Jimmy. You're working me too hard over here, Bob. Hold on. Coach, what you got?
Checking
Coach,
on
give
that.
Me a second,
Can
Coach.
I throw one thing at y'all right quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we come back next week, one of the things I'm gonna hit y'all with is in the Hall of Fame. I done hit y'all with this one before, and I'm gonna keep on till y'all use y'all powers and help us out. It's coaches Dallas, Houston that should be in the Hall of Fame, the high school Hall of Fame. And when I go to the Hall of Fame up there's nothing but East Coast teams.
Okay.
And we have a national record that we broke. This is the second time we broke it, and we're nowhere in that building. National champions, they have all the East national champions in there. They're nowhere in the building in terms of Dallas, Lincoln, us, the records that have been broken, and Texas needs to get recognized for us. Because that's not the East Coast Hall of Fame, that's the United States Hall of Fame. And we have plenty of people that should be getting recognized out of the state of Texas that's not being recognized.
Well,
indeed.
Jimmy,
and that,
on the screen now.
That's the guest for tomorrow.
Okay.
Carrie Patterson Brown. She's the co-founder of the Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences. And you guys may have heard the name of that school several times over the past few days. Ironically, once again, we had this scheduled last week. So if we didn't just got to run out there and get this person just because what just happened. And if you're curious to what just happened, just tune in tomorrow and you will get that and a lot more about this school, which is located in North Houston. But anyway, guys, it's time to slide on down. Dino's back. And yabba do this thing on the Chop Shop on this Cinco de Mayo. I'm about to go, and you know what? I'm about to go and make me a good glass of some good margarita from up under my. I got it in the refrigerator. It's good and cold.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter.
I'm about to go hit this bottle. Class Azul. That's what I'm about to go do, baby.
What's
Chop
Class Azul, Jim? You can't say that. What's that?
Put it like this. Those that know what Class Azul is.
Okay.
Class Azul. That's the white bottle. The white bottle with the blue, the white vase. They know what that is.
You know what? I'm going to make somebody.
Guess
what I'm going to do today, Greg? I'm going to go make some margaritas. I'm not going to drink them. I'm just going to make them. And just hope I have some guests. I hope I have a guest. I'm gonna make some margaritas today.
Hey man, Hal finna turn his house into 2 pesos over there back in the day. He finna go drink every margarita about the whole jug. I'm up out of here, guys. See y'all tomorrow. Peace. Chop chop.
Oh, you're fool.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sport.